Um, well, hello and welcome. I hope everyone in the universe is having a good day today. I am having an okay day, but not a good day. I forgot that I had a YouTube playlist for all of DSP's employment history. Bruh. Oh, I see what's going on. I have commented in the past. I have a YouTube block extension, which is great for preventing DSP from shitting up my subscription feed. But it affects things like I add a DSP video to a playlist or whatever. And then now all of a sudden I can't see my videos in my playlist, and I'm very confused, and I'm like, I know 100% I added this stuff to my playlist. Where did it go? Right? So yeah. Let's fix that. We're going to watch a handful of videos. Kind of going to go oldest to newest, I guess. And then oldest to newest. So we got stuff from 7 days ago to stuff yesterday to see what has been going on in the world of content. And you probably want to actually hear it. So I got you. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing, even. And then that. So the first one we've got is the guy making sure that Detractors understand their responsibility to prop him up financially, because after all, he has made their lives robust and provided them with meaningful relationships and stuff. I mean, I would never have met Jesse if it wouldn't have been for DSP. And I think the least that I can do is give DSP some money for that.
I received a $5 tip. Thank you. Who is this? So this person says, to clarify, restreamers pull numbers and are active watching everything you're live. And I've seen them gift subs, gift money to the host and so on. Many just chill and actually respond to your opinions on games and events. Most are negative assholes. Some seem to enjoy the community. You enable them to have that because they're piggybacking on you. So as social beings, it's reasonable, in my opinion, to direct their attention every now and then the reality that you enable them to community they so desire and enjoy off of the mother channel. Of course, you're right. And what you're saying is very reasonable, okay? And very smart, actually, and intelligent. Like, if you're watching some...
So I was actually memeing. I didn't realize that this was going to be literally word for word-ish, the argument being made here. But yeah, that's pretty much word for word the argument being made. These people would never have met each other if it wouldn't have been for DSP. And if DSP were to have the final stroke and yeet away his life, then pretty much all these Tractor YouTube channels and Discords and forum threads and stuff like that, they just get deleted because there'd be no point, right?
Someone make fun of someone. Even if you don't like the person, understand that that person must be supported, because if they're not, they will not continue to make the content that you like to make fun of. So you should every once in a while support it regardless, right?
Nope, I don't know what you mean.
So there you go. But the thing is, what you're saying is intelligent. And I hate to say it, a lot of people who watch something just to crap on it are not intelligent people. Intelligent people are people who have lives, have constructive, positive things going on for themselves, and families, relationships, jobs and careers, hobbies. They don't have time to just sit around and dump on people 24/7. The people who have time to do that.
What is a hobby? Like, he has time to play WWE Champions. I don't know. Like, if he can spend thousands of dollars a month getting sweaty man PNGs, why can't I spend nothing making fun of an idiot on the internet who's funny for all of the reasons that he doesn't want to be? I don't know. I don't like this argument from DSP. I don't like the argument that anybody that makes fun of him online is like a loser with no family and no hobbies and no job, and like they're strapped to a stool with like a tube in their butthole and a tube in their pee hole, and like what's the hole in your stomach that gives you food and that people have when they can't eat, whether they're in the hospital or they have some kind of medical condition. That's what all tractors are. They basically just are just strapped to a chair and they just defecate and pee in place. They're like IV fed, and all they do all day is make fun of DSP because he cannot see a world where somebody might like to make fun of him and then go bang their hot wife and hang out with their bros at the bar and go for a walk or something. No, obviously, if people dislike him, then their entire life revolves around him, because if people dislike him, then his entire life revolves around that. And it's I don't know. It's not a hot take on my end that so much of this dude's complaints and criticisms and stuff like that are just projection. But it really is. It's like, I can't live in a world where people dislike me, so obviously nobody can do anything except make fun of me or give me money. And those are the only two options. You either don't know I exist, or you give me lots of money and think I'm great, or you swat me and stuff. There's no in between.
Are miserable wretches. That's the truth, is that this entire online culture of people who hate watch, the reason they hate watch is because they don't have a good life for themselves. If they did, they wouldn't have to spend time hating on others' lives.
And that's kind of the thing. Like, this is the projection stuff, right? I have a really cheap audio interface and a pair of DT770 Pros, and I am frustrated that I get all of this crackling and popping in my headphones. And it's kind of intermittent, and it happens even when the computer isn't playing any audio. So I'm kind of concerned it's the headphones. But I admittedly have not gone to the effort of like narrowing it down and figuring out what the underlying cause is. But it's very annoying when it happens because there's nothing I can do to make it stop. Except, I guess, like physically unplug my audio interface so it stops doing anything with the headphones. Anyway, I don't know what I was saying anymore. So we're just going to move on.
So they really don't have that rational level of thought in their heads to say, oh yeah, well, it's common.
Nah, I'm not going to give him that. I'm not going to let my technical difficulties derail my stream. I'm going to rewind and see what he said and decide if I want to like make my peace with whatever it was.
They did, they wouldn't have to spend time hating on others' lives. So they really don't have that rational level of thought in their.
Oh, he was saying like that they're not happy and they don't have happy lives and they don't have stuff going on. I don't think I have anything new to add to that.
Heads to say, oh yeah, well, it's common sense to think, I like making fun of Phil. Phil needs support to stay in business. Let me support his business so we can make fun of.
This is very, very dented in my opinion. I'm going to give DSP money to keep him afloat so he keeps acting like an idiot online, and I can keep making fun of him. Like, I don't know about other people, but I don't, generally speaking, give money to for-profit businesses of any kind, whether it's a single guy or whether it's some big international corporation, just because I like the product that they make. Because in the end, unlike DSP, and I think other tractors are the same way, can go find something else to do with my time. Don't get me wrong, making fun of DSP is something that's just kind of a fun, chill time. It's something that I can just pull up the channel or whatever and see what DSP has been up to lately. And that's cool. But the same way, if like Twitter went away or YouTube went away or whatever, like, people would live. People would just find something else to do with their time. Honestly, if DSP were to go away, for me personally, it'd probably free up a lot of time, because I kind of just, I don't have anything to do. I'll go see what DSP's been up to. And maybe I would find something else to do with my time when I'm bored and I don't have anything going on. But that's not the same thing as like my life would be ended or ruined or whatever. For me, DSP is mostly a time-consuming thing. It's like, I've got a bunch of time and I don't really want to go do anything right now, so like, I'm going to go pull up a Tevin stream because he's restreaming DSP and I want to make fun of DSP. I don't know. Like, I think that's a more rational and more accurate characterization of most tractors than what DSP is throwing out there. I like the people that I hang out with because I started making fun of DSP. Don't get me wrong. But in the same way, excuse me. In the same way, like, if the Discord got shut down or something like that, I'd be annoyed, right? But if people decided that they didn't want to join a new Discord or didn't want to join some other type of alternative chat thing or whatever, I would accept that, and I would just move on with my life, right? I don't have the sunk cost fallacy thing that DSP has, where he's like, well, I've been doing this for 15 years, so I can't quit now. I don't feel that way about DSP. I've been making fun of DSP since like 2016. It's been almost a decade. That's a long time to make fun of an old dude on the internet who I started out as just thinking played video games poorly and then realized how deep it went. But I'm not DSP. My brain didn't work like DSP. And I can be, I don't know, I can enjoy making fun of DSP. I can enjoy hanging around other people that make fun of DSP. Without my whole life revolving around that. I don't know. Maybe I just went on a cyclical rant. That was my TED Talk, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Of him more.
You're like, huh?
Right? Here's a perfect example. For years, there was this silly meme about me doing push-ups, okay? 2 weeks ago on Smart Guys, PPP and I set this up that I was going to do push-ups, but people needed to support it. You've wanted to see me do push-ups and make fun of me doing push-ups for how many years?
This is the, you wanted me to do this at one point in time. You, he says to the camera, right? You wanted me to do this at one point in time. So you should not only still want me to do it, but you should also want me to do it bad enough to give me something of value to do it. And the number of layers of like abstraction or whatever you want to call it that you have to peel away to figure out why DSP thinks that's logical is dumb. It's just dumb. Like, first of all, you have to assume that when he says you as he's staring at the camera, he's talking to like a single entity that's like some kind of hive mind, right? There are no individuals. All of the information in that hive mind is like brought in and stays there forever, and it never goes away. So you wanted me to do this implies that it's not some individual person or a few people that wanted him to do it who have now left his community, which is the reality, probably. In DSP's mind, it's a hive mind. It's a single entity that wanted him to do this. And it still does. And then you have to assume that that single entity hive mind thing wants to pay him money, is willing to pay him money to make this thing happen. And I think we've seen, especially with the recent goal stuff that he's been doing, I say recent, it's been a long time, but you know what I mean. With the recent goal stuff he's been doing, we see how he deals with goals, right? I think Tevin made a comment. Give me a second. I will make the heater noise not so annoying in the microphone. All right. Hopefully that's a little bit better. You don't hear quite as much of it. And hopefully it doesn't distort my voice a whole bunch. But he shit, did I really forget what I was saying again? I'm angry. I'm angry about this. Oh, I was talking about the way he deals with goals. We've seen the way he deals with goals. And I think Tevin said something in this general vein. I'm not trying to put words in his mouth or whatever, but DSP's goals are, you gave me $1,500 over the course of a month, and now I'm going to reward you by letting you give me more money during a special stream or a special segment of a stream or whatever. It's like, if you give me $1,500, then I will let you watch me eat food that you paid for. If you give me $1,500, then I will let you watch me half-ass my way through a bunch of video games that I don't want to play. And then, you can give me money to do that during this stream. And if you don't pay for my DoorDash, if you don't pay for my $10 games that I'm playing 1 hour of each over the course of 8 hours or whatever, then you almost got me killed. And that's what all of his goal shit is. It's, you wanted this, so you need to pay for it. And then once I'm doing it for you, you also need to pay me for it to make me feel like it was worth my while to do, while ignoring the fact that you already paid me to do it. His mentality on goals is really fucking stupid, just kind of in general, but with this push-up thing especially, because you're adding on top of that stupidity the idea that this hive mind still wants him to do this thing that it wanted him to do 10 years ago or whatever. And that, they obviously just want to give him money to do it. But I don't think it's that he expects people to give him money to do thing, so much as it's he expects people to I think the way that I would put it is, DSP spends his entire streaming career trying to give people excuses to justify donating. He's not trying to actually produce something that people are willing to pay for, in the sense of making a product or a service that you have to subscribe to or purchase or whatever. He's trying to give people something that they can point at and say, I mean, I guess I can justify giving DSP some money because he did thing. And I wonder if that's a reflection on his attitude, like his relationship with his parents. Like, do a little mini psychoanalysis segment here. Did he do the same thing with his parents, where he just like gave them some form of excuse to give him a toy, some form of excuse, like he tried to lawyer his way into getting things without actually trying to earn them? I don't know. Might have to put a pin in that because I don't think I have a fully fleshed out weird psychoanalysis thing I can do for that.
Okay? Here's the truth. For me, it's no big deal. I don't care. I don't care if I can get on this floor and do 20 push-ups or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even factor into me or my life. If I can do them, great. If I can't, it doesn't matter. I can still do my work. I can still have a fun life. I don't care if I can do push-ups.
Jesse, I didn't respond to your question, probably because I got very distracted. Would I call gaming an adult hobby? You know, I mean, if somebody were to seriously ask me that question, I would say sure. Why not? I mean, you've got people that restore cars, you've got people that make little models of all sorts of stuff, from Gundam to boats to trains. You've got people that do tech stuff. Like, I like to do tech stuff. I don't do quite as much of it anymore because I don't have any interesting projects that spring to mind, but I used to. Like, I don't have a problem with some 42-year-old man like DSP, for example, saying, man, I really like video games. It's just a fun thing to do with my time. I personally don't play a lot of video games. I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy. It's kind of the same thing with regard to DSP, right? It isn't the most fun thing in the world. Maybe there are other things I would rather be doing instead. But it's super easy. I can just sit down in the privacy of my own home and do it. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to spend any real money. It's not like it's some, daily fee or whatever. I, of course, paid for the game legally on Steam, as we all do. But it's like, I don't have a problem with DSP playing video games. And I think I've probably felt this way in the past. I don't even have a problem with DSP's business being video games. I don't care. Like, if he actually liked playing video games, which he obviously doesn't, and he was able to spend his time like playing video games and having a good time, 50% of the time, 75% of the time he was enjoying himself. He was pretty good at it. He was pretty good at the streaming, the microphoning. You can't see my mouse, but I'm pointing and circling on the mouse. If he was able to do that, I'd be all for it. The reason why I think in the past I felt like him playing video games for a living was a little bit of a meme, and to an extent other tubers playing video games for a living being a meme, is because I think that there's a lack of perspective sometimes in people like this, where they, the saying, it's like, don't compare suffering, right? So like, it's bad to compare, well, your job isn't as hard as my job, because that's bullshit, right? That's an incredibly relative thing, right? Except for super edge cases, nobody's going to all agree that one job is easier than another job, right? But with people like DSP, I think sometimes they don't have perspective on the realities of somebody else telling you to come in at a specific time, dress a certain way, you got to drive to work, you got to maintain some type of continuing education, you got to meet deadlines, you got to do projects that you don't think are interesting, you got to work with customers that you think are annoying, or they're just outright hostile. You got to deal with people at your job that are trying to sabotage your career. And that's why sometimes I think that I, and maybe other people too who are in the same boat, have thought that this type of stuff that DSP is doing isn't a real job. right? Could you imagine with how DSP responds to the number of video games that are out there that he wants to play? Could you imagine him dealing with deadlines at a job where if he doesn't meet them, he might just get fired? Like, if he doesn't play all the AAA brand new releases, it doesn't really functionally matter. I think we've demonstrated at this point that it doesn't really matter what he plays. He's still going to get his 250 to 350 viewers live. He's still going to get his $10,000 a month. Could you imagine this guy with the way he deals with detractors, dealing with people at work who are trying to screw him out of a promotion? Whether because they just don't like him or because they're trying to vie for the promotion themselves. Could you imagine with this guy's inability to show up to his own streams on time? Him dealing with a 9 to 5 where he's told, if you're more than 5 minutes late, we're going to write you up. And if it keeps happening, we're going to fire you, regardless of how good you are at your job. Like, that's a baseline expectation. We're not going to waive it for you. With how much of a hassle he acts like going to the grocery store and picking up some cat litter and food is. Could you imagine this guy having to commute to a job 45 minutes away, spend an hour and a half on the road every day? And that's what I mean when I say lack of perspective. It's like, I think they sometimes don't have the perspective to understand that objectively the balance of their job is like a thing. What I mean by that is, like, let's use the example of somebody who's doing DoorDash, right? When you're doing DoorDash, the balance of your job is not, I have a super stable income and I have a super high income. Your balance of your job is like, you've got flexibility in your hours, and you can pick and choose what types of tasks you do and do not want to do. You can just reject something you don't want to do, right? So if somebody were to tell me, well, I work DoorDash and I don't get paid enough, my response to them, as callous as it might be, is, well, yeah, but you kind of have a job where the job is balanced toward these other factors. So if you don't like the balance of where you're at, you need to go find another job. Not just complain that it isn't all perfect. There is no perfect job. And toobers, I think, have the same issue, where a lot of times they will complain about, well, my income isn't increasing, or my viewership isn't increasing, or it's not increasing at the rate I want it to. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, first of all, that's every business owner's issue, right? That's pretty much something every business owner deals with. But on top of that, your job is balanced in a different direction. You've got all these other things that are really nice about your job. Yeah, you're going to have a few things that aren't. It's not a karmic scale thing like DSP believes in, but it is a thing. Like, nothing in life is free. You want a job that has these factors over here. You're going to have to deal with the fact that it might not have these other factors over here. Might be weak in these factors over here because it's strong in these over here. I don't know. That's my second TED Talk for.
Only my detractors care. So we said, hey, let's hit our goal for today and Phil will do the push-ups. Guess what didn't happen? We didn't hit any contributions at all for it. Now, that's the content they claim they want, right? They've claimed for how many years we want the push-ups because we want to make fun of Phil doing push-ups. But then when it's time to put the money where the mouth is, 0 is received. Here, where is it? Where's the money?
And that's kind of a goofy comment to make. When it's time to put the money where their mouth is, where's the money? What do you mean, time to put the money where their mouth is? Was there a contractually specified deadline where they asked for this thing and you said, okay, as long as we get money by X date, we'll do it? No, you lied about doing the damn push-ups. You claimed you did them. And people made fun of you because it was obvious you didn't do it. I don't know, bro. Danger Sweet says, the expectation of donations is such a warped perspective on streaming. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's cool to put fun shit out on the internet and have people like it and give you money for it. I think that it is totally valid to want that for yourself. But when I'm watching a YouTuber or a streamer or whatever, I don't want to hear them complain about how much money they're making. Like, I don't want to hear them complain about how many views or subscribers or followers they have or whatever. Like, I don't care. I don't have I don't think I have quite the tribal mentality that goes with that. The cult mentality of, oh, well, I'm personally invested in this tuber getting money or followers or whatever. I not only don't care, to me, when people bring that stuff up, it detracts from the thing that I enjoy. And there's kind of two sides of that. One side of that is, it's like people throw around the word parasocial, right? It's a parasocial type deal situation where it's like, I'm not your friend just because I watch your YouTube channel. And if you have some kind of thing you want to talk to somebody about, go get a therapist or talk to one of your friends. Don't talk to me on the internet. There's, it's fine to say, hey guys, I'm not going to be uploading a video today. I'm not feeling it because my dog passed away. It's another thing entirely to do what DSP does and talk about how depressed he is because he's single to a bunch of, like, probably young men on the internet. Like, none of them care, bro. And the donations thing is the same way, right? It's just a different type of thing. It's like, if you want to talk to somebody and complain about how much money you're making, I don't even know what that is. It just is. It's just a warped perspective, not just on streaming, but on life. I don't think I would go to my friends and tell them, man, I'm just not happy with how much money I'm making. That'd be weird. It'd be even weirder if I was doing okay financially and I just wanted more because I was greedy. Right? And I'm be real. I understand everybody has financial struggles, but I think most people who tube for a living, not the people that LARP like they tube for a living as they're making $500 a month, but the people who actually make enough on tubing that they can pay their mortgage and they can pay their utilities and they can, keep a car and buy groceries and have health insurance and, pay for their kids' stuff and their wife doesn't have to work and all that stuff. Like, if somebody's in that general position where they're okay financially, damn, you should never ever complain about money to anybody. You're allowed to want more, 100%. I'm not telling you you're not allowed to want more. I'm not telling you you're not allowed to try and go get more. But I don't think you should be telling anybody you're mad about not making enough money, especially not your internet people. But yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point too, Danger Sweet. Like, your audience might be watching you because they have kind of crappy life and this is something to distract from it. And you fuck that over when you come on and start complaining about your very, very much first world problems. Like, they might legit be living in some crack den and watching your YouTube videos at the library with the 1 hour, 2 hours they can get away from the fucking gunfire and drug overdoses. Like, you don't know what those audience members are like experiencing their lives. So maybe don't insert negativity into their life that is completely unrelatable, right? It's not even like, oh yeah, you and I are both going through bad stuff that's similar. I'm going to be supportive of you, my audience member. I don't know. But it's the same way from an audience member perspective. Just because you're watching my YouTube channel doesn't mean I'm your friend, and you probably shouldn't be telling me about your depression and your financial issues and stuff like that, right? So it's kind of just a boundaries thing. I feel like, there's nothing wrong with being honest with people on the internet, talking about stuff that's going on in your life, but like, don't be weird about it. Yeah, I wouldn't go into somebody's YouTube channel and, if I'm thinking straight, I wouldn't go into somebody's YouTube channel and post a big long comment about how I'm having a hard time with money and I'm having a really hard time getting my Twitch.tv career kicked off. I'm struggling to get that 1 million follower mark. I just wouldn't do it, and I don't want some tuber doing it to me.
Where's the money? It's gone. I don't even know. There was money here and it's missing now. Oh well. So this is the point. It's not that these people, these hate watchers, right? The reason that they hate watch is to feel better about themselves because they're...
I disagree with this. And I think this is a projection thing from DSP. I don't hate watch DSP to feel better about myself. I'm not perfect. But like from a human subjective standpoint, I think just about everybody that watches DSP as a tractor probably has more going for their life than DSP does. They're probably paying their taxes when they're supposed to. They're probably not spending thousands of dollars a month on alcohol and food deliveries and WWE champions. If they're dating somebody, if they're married to somebody, it's probably not a loveless relationship. They probably do things with their time other than work and play WWE champions. Like in every respect, I think my life is better than DSP's. I don't need to watch DSP to feel that way. And on top of that, why would I? Like, why do I need to compare my life to someone else's? Phone going off. Not everybody has the ability to do this. I've definitely compared my life to other people plenty of times. But I try not to do it as like a regular thing, right? I try to like turn that off. It doesn't matter what somebody else is doing with their life. What matters is, am I cool with what I'm doing with mine? And if there are things I'm not cool with in my life, watching DSP is not going to make me feel better about that. And if there are things that are going well with my life, I should not watch some successful person and feel worse about the things that are going well in my life. I think that's a sensible attitude to have to the world around you.
They're miserable wretches and embarrassments to humanity. That's not me actually like insulting them. That's me being truthful. People don't watch people to make fun of them unless they have something bad going on in their own life they need to feel better about. People who are busy.
Like, he can go to a community like Seattle and probably Renton too, and he can find homeless people on the street. Do you think he'd feel better about his financial situation if he looked at those people who are homeless and on the street? Maybe. But I bet he wouldn't, as he's making serial killer face at the camera. I bet he'd still feel bad about his financial situation. Like, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't improve his perspective. I fundamentally disagree with the idea that the people watching him do it because it makes them feel better about their crappy lives. Even if people hate watching him have crappy lives, I would hazard a guess that watching DSP does not make them feel better about it.
With positive things don't have time to dump on others 24/7. So in that regard, that's why they're not going to pay to see what they want, because then if you pay, you feel like, oh no, well, I just improved the life of the person who I'm trying to bring down. You kind of see what I'm saying here? Like, they need to degrade someone to feel better about themselves. So if they supported that person, they would feel like they're improving the person they're trying to degrade. At least that's my take, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But the funny part is some people actually do come by after some time and be like, you know, Phil, out of all that hate watching and all the crap, I'm sorry for it. And I just want to let you know, I'm moving forward positively. Either I'm not going to watch you at all anymore, or I've actually started watching you positively on your own raw content and I've become a fan. I'm not watching the regurgitation.
This is all just LARPs. And he really holds himself out as some highly intelligent individual. So it's pretty funny that he falls for these LARPs. Like, all you have to do is say to him, I used to watch your content on Tevin's channel, and one day I pulled up your stream and holy crap, like, there's a lot of funny and cool stuff you do that Tevin just cuts out of his restreams or videos or whatever, and DSP will believe you 100%. And it's very goofy that somebody that wants to hold himself out as such an intelligent, intellectual person falls for these LARPs so easily.
The restreamer, the hater, I'm actually coming by and becoming a viewer of yours now that's going to hang out and support you. That's happened. I get those kind of messages quite frequently. I'd say probably a couple times a month. I'll get someone who reaches out to me via private means and says, just so you know, I used to be one of these really dedicated haters, but now I've seen the error of my ways. I think that it's stupid, and I'm going to move forward, positively. There's this fan.
How much money are they giving you? That's what I want to know. Is it just the same guy who is a whale and exits your community and then creates a new account and then DMs you and says, man, I'm a new viewer. I'm going to give you a lot of money. I don't know.
That never happened. That's not what happened at all. You're literally wasting your entire life away. And one day you're going to die. And you're going to say, oh shit, I spent years of my life sitting around with a community of nut jobs, dumping on someone on the internet when I could have done things for myself that would have improved my own life situation. Instead,
I'm going to say that after I died. After I die, I'm going to say, man, I wish I hadn't made fun of DSP. I wish I'd done good stuff with my life, like give DSP money.
Instead of living in a shitty small place in squalor, I could have went out and I could have got a job.
Woo, that is some wild projection right there. A shitty small place in squalor. Who's living in a shitty small place in squalor? Wasn't DSP's condo in Connecticut like fucking 600 square feet? And it was like $100,000 condo? And he just had like fucking shit everywhere, which made it look even smaller. Like that's kind of one of those things that like it's just kind of an out of left field comment. Like, what tractor does DSP know that lives in a shitty small place in squalor? Like, none, I would guess. This is just some projection thing. Because I think I'm speculating here. I think it's just a projection thing, because he went from that little 600 square foot condo to this, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 2-stall garage condo in a gated community. And he thinks, man, I'm moving up in the world. The way he thinks other people hate watch him to make themselves feel better about their situation, he buys things to make himself feel better about his situation. And we'll see if he gives other examples, but I would guess here that if he goes on a little rant about all the things people could have done to improve their lives instead of making fun of DSP, they're all going to be material things. I would guess he's not going to say, I could have went out there and found the woman of my dreams. He's not going to say, I could have been a better parent to my children. He's not going to say, I could have, gotten that promotion at work. And that's almost a material thing, but not quite. I guarantee you, we'll see if he makes me a liar, that everything he brings up here is stuff that you could have bought instead of making fun of DSP. As though somehow not making fun of DSP is just going to put a bunch of money in your pocket.
I could have worked my ass off. I could have had a relationship with a significant other. I could have made amends with my friends and family members and went out and...
I got felted. He made me a liar.
Had a good time, but instead I was at home watching other people make fun of Dark Side Phil.
No, I got a bad bitch, and that bitch right.
Who's the real loser in this situation?
You. Yes, you.
The guy who's living large, having a great life, enjoying his content, enjoying his time with his viewers. And
oof. Anybody that's seen a DSP stream lately knows that DSP is not enjoying his content and his time with his viewers. And as far as like living large, he's going to call what he's doing living large. How many major appliances in your condo are broken, bud? You know how many appliances in my home are broken? None. Wow, what a weird situation. How much time do you spend like going out and doing fun things when you're not like preoccupied with work and chores, DSP? None? Oof. That's living large? Living in a dusty condo with a wife that doesn't really have anything to do with you anymore, and a cat that you like basically shoo away whenever it's inconvenient to be around, and you have no hobbies except playing one mobile game and maybe watching movies and TV, but you're living large? Like, bro, people living in prison don't have any broken appliances, probably. People living in prison can have no friends. People living in prison can have beards and sexual relationships and whatever that have no underlying emotional meaning. People living in prison can have no fucking hobbies except watching TV. Like, seriously, man? We're going to pretend here that you're living large? When somebody who's in prison could be enjoying basically the same lifestyle as you? I mean, hell, the building they live in would be bigger and it'd have more bathrooms and bedrooms too. It might even have some like cool amenities like a basketball court or a fucking foosball table or whatever. Like, people living in prison, aside from the fact that they're like, no, not even. I was going to say, aside from the fact that people in prison are literally imprisoned, they might be living larger than DSP. But DSP is literally imprisoned. Whether it's an anxiety thing or whatever, this dude only leaves his house once a fucking month, and it's basically a supervised fucking a supervised offsite with a chaperone. Like, this dude can't just take a day off and like just go to a park and go for a walk or something. His ankle monitor will go off. Officer Jenna's going to show up, take him home.
And making bank doing it and just, having positivity and fun, or the person who's...
Yeah, and you can't do that either. He just said making bank doing it. You can't say I'm making bank doing it and then beg the way that you do, bro.
On the other end of it, who all you can do is try to bring me down and fail every single day. And then your life is going to be the one that's squandered, not mine. I'm enjoying my life. Every day that I'm on the stream, I'm having a great time. Obviously not you. So, I mean, again, it's all about kind of like self-awareness. People who are self-aware, you get to that certain age, at that certain level of maturity in your life, and you realize some certain things, right? You know what it really is? If you get to a certain age, here's the truth. All right, here's some real talk from...
When they get the I'm older than you segment for some reason. because, you know, all of his fans are mature adults, but I'm going to talk to, but he's going to talk to his fans like they're all fucking 5-year-olds.
From Phil Burnell, not Dark Side Phil, but here's some real talk from Phil Burnell right now. At one point in your life, you're going to get old enough where people around you, sadly, are going to start to get sick and pass away. And they're going to sit there and be like, what happened to my life? Instead of me doing positive, fun things that were constructive and helped others around me and improved the lifestyle and helped other people around me, instead what I did is I just brought people down. I hated on people. I crap.
I remember when my grandfather died, like I was there in the room with him. And, you know, he and I were talking about life and the things that he enjoyed and stuff like that. And, you know, I was trying to keep him positive and stuff like that. And, you know, I was trying to encourage him to think about all the good things that had happened, you know, his relationships with his kids and his grandkids, and the fact that he had built up kind of a legacy, a good reputation with people in the community because he was hardworking and he was willing to help people out when they needed stuff and all that. And like, I do kind of agree with DSP here a bit, in the sense that people do, when they're kind of on their deathbed or whatever, look back on things and think about what they could have done better. Because despite the fact that my grandfather had done all of these, you know, really good things with his life, he did regret that he made fun of DSP online all the time.
Crapped on people. And that's not good. It's not, man. They probably don't understand that what they're doing is harmful, not only to me and my community, but harmful to their own selves, right? They're actually wasting their own time on this planet when they could be doing positive, fun things. They could be part of a positive community where everyone hangs out and supports each other, and they actually contribute to the streams, and then I'm able to upgrade my setup and do more stuff and buy more games and do new things, as opposed to I sit on someone else's stream who illegally steals his content and is actively trying to take away views and money. Guys, listen to me. If there was no illegal restreaming, I would have over 1,000 viewers on my stream right now. You know that, right? Every stream, Kick would probably have hundreds. YouTube would have thousands. And think, if I had that level of views and support, instead of that level of people who just clowned on me all day, what we could do? We could have reach. We could actually have impact. We could have videos that people cared about and people would listen to. You know, it would be a very different thing.
That's it. Johnny?
Outstanding. And I used to have that power until the internet turned me into a negative meme for a decade. And it's sad that these people can't bust out of that trap, that prison, that mold that they're stuck in, to realize that if they just looked big picture and understood the human condition, they would realize what a waste they are to this planet. Because none of them sitting there doing that are helping anyone. They could be helping themselves and others, but instead it's just waste, waste, waste.
That's an incredibly toxic attitude to have. Okay.
Yeah, and again, I've been there. I've absolutely positively been there. So anyway, yeah, it's, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, you know, it's funny because you take a look at like a show like Smart Guys, right? Where we are actively trying to do fun segments and fun things with the content that people would want to see, but you notice that there's no support for it because these people are so ingrained and brainwashed to think I have to watch this content on an illegal restreamer and not support Phil, even though supporting Phil would actually keep the content coming that they want.
He also puts too much into this. I think he psychoanalyzes the motivations behind people who do restreams and the motivations behind people watching those restreams. Same thing with Detractor YouTube videos or whatever. People watch those. Yes, there are people out there who specifically watch a Tractor video or a restream because they don't want to support DSP, right? They don't want to give him that view. They don't want to give him that attention. I get that. But I would suggest that if you're watching some, I don't even know who's a big restreamer and like what their view count is, but like, let's say you're watching a Tevin restream for some drama, right? And Tevin's got 1,000 people watching. Like out of those 1,000 people, how many of those people do you think are watching that restream just so they don't puff up DSP's view count? And how many people do you think are watching that restream because they want to see what Tevin adds to the conversation? I mean, I don't watch Tevin or Anleet or Atlas or WPig. I don't know who else restreams offhand, because I want to make sure that I'm not giving DSP that extra number on his viewer count. I'm watching those people because I want to know what that tuber thinks of what's going on in the DSP cinematic universe. That's what I care about. And if, for example, nobody was talking about what DSP was doing in his stream, I may pop into DSP's stream and see what's going on. But if I don't see anything interesting, I'm just going to leave. Right? And like, let's be real. I'm not going to be the first guy to notice that something interesting is happening in DSP's stream. If literally nobody is restreaming it, and if literally nobody is talking about it, it's probably because he's not doing anything interesting. So no, if these restreamers didn't exist, I disagree. No, he would not be making, $1 bajillion. He would not have 1 million views on his videos and thousands of people watching live and stuff like that. He has 200 and whatever thousand subscribers on YouTube. And he can't get 300 people to show up to most of his streams. Because he's fucking boring. And nobody wants to watch him be boring. But if I watch a restreamer, they can kind of fill in that boring a little bit. They can keep it entertaining. They can improve the pacing by turning him up to 1.5 times speed. They can skip through stuff because, most of these people who do restreams, they develop a sense of when DSP is going to, when DSP is doing something that's probably going to be boring for a minute or two. And they can skip forward. They can skip through the 20-minute slideshow. They can skip through the 5-10-minute bathroom break. They can skip through the rants he's already made 1,000 times. He shits on this stuff, but as he's making stroke face at the camera right now, look at this dude. Look at that background. Does this look like a guy who really has just refined his craft? The answer is no. And the reason why he doesn't look like he's a guy that has refined his craft is he hasn't. And the bottom line is some of these restreamers have. Some of these restreamers are very fucking good at what they do. And that's why people show up and want to watch them. In the same way that DSP can play a video game and somebody with 10,000 subscribers on YouTube can get the same number of people to show up to watch as DSP can with 200 and whatever thousand subscribers, is why DSP can make a stream and get 300 people to watch, and Tevin can restream it and get 1,000 people to watch, or whatever, real numbers, right? But he doesn't want to believe that. He just wants to believe that everybody watching Tevin, everybody watching Anlead, everybody watching WPig, etc., is just doing it to screw him over. Just doing it to deny him the metrics. And that if all of these restreamers were to just go away, then instead they would watch DSP. And I think as an extension of that, he legitimately thinks that if people were to just watch him directly, they would realize the error of their ways, fall in love, and start giving him money. And then he talks about weird shit like, oh, think about all the good we could do if I had thousands of viewers on my streams. DSP did the SOPA and PIPA stuff back in the day because it personally impacted his financial situation. Not because he really cared about the law that was being proposed, the laws, plural, that were being proposed. And, he, to this day, still thinks that he's some kind of savant. And when he made those videos, he was driving the national and even international discussion about SOPA and PIPA. And we all know he wasn't. We all know he was one voice out of thousands or tens of thousands or whatever that were all saying the same stuff. And different people had different motivations. Some people's motivation was pretty much the same as DSP's. Well, if you do this, then I'm not going to be able to make money as a tuber anymore. Right? I'm not going to be able to get attention as a tuber anymore. Other people might have had a little bit more pragmatic attitudes towards the direction that type of legislation would take the world. And anything in between. DSP has had a lot of opportunities to wisely use his audience and his money and his influence and his, whatever. And he squandered all of it. But he's going to try and gaslight you, like he did a while back, into believing that the detractors have nerfed his ability to save mankind. When the reality of the matter is, he squanders everything that he receives. And that's the real reason he feels like he has nothing going on in his life and has to shit on other people to feel better. And saw a comment the other day about he's a bully mentally, but he's also weak. And being a tuber is a way he can flex on people because he's the one with the ban button. Right? And that's the way DSP uses his influence and his money. For hedonistic, personal gain at everybody else's expense if necessary. And if he accidentals into doing something good, like being another one of those voices saying SOPA and PIPA were probably a bad idea and we shouldn't do that, then it's just that. It's him accidentally into doing some good. No tractor nerfed this guy into fucking not saving the world. We're going to move on to DSP talking about Harvard idiots for ruining WB games.
This morning,
I wanted to talk about this a little bit, just because of, DSP's very obvious opinion about people that went to Ivy League schools and people who had good educations and people who had rich parents and stuff like that. And I'm going to throw down some potential slander here. And I want to make it clear to everybody that this is information that is kind of to the best of my knowledge. Go and verify stuff yourself if you want to know for sure whether or not stuff is true. I don't believe DSP ever once went to a public school. I believe DSP went to private school, maybe, K through 12, 13 years. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and suggest that wasn't free. I'm going to suggest that it was probably a couple $1,000s a year. And I don't know exactly how private school tuition works. I would assume you pay a little bit less when they're little and a little bit more when they're older. But let's just go out on a limb here and say, for, kindergarten through 4th grade, 5 years, his parents paid $2,000 a year to make the math easy. And say that they spent $10,000 for him to get a 4th grade education at a private school. And then years 5 through 12, for the remaining 8 years, they paid $4,000. right? You got a little more complicated stuff. Those teachers have to have a little more education, a little higher credentials, etc., because they got to start getting into specializations in things like math and science, right? I think that's a reasonable ballpark assumption. So that's 32,000, right? If you want to look at it from that perspective, then his parents, this is not DSP taking out a college loan, right? This isn't something he's paying back. This is just his parents out of their own pocket while still paying, the taxes that go to the local school district. This is the guy getting, what did I say? $42,000. His parents just paid $42,000 for him to get a private school education, K through 12. And when you look at inflation from the mid-'80s, because he was born in 1982, so he would have went to college or high school, not high school, not college. He would have went to kindergarten roundabouts when he was 5, right? In 1987. Inflation from 1987 to today is give or take 100%. Right? So that $42,000 that his parents paid to send him to a private school for his K through 12 education instead of just sending him to public school was essentially $100,000. But he hates anybody whose parents paid their way into an education because he feels like he was fucked out of an Ivy League education because his parents weren't rich and he was white. His words. That's what he thinks. That's the reason he thinks he didn't get into an Ivy League school, is because he wasn't a minority and his parents weren't rich. Bro, your parents paid $100,000. We're going to, based on the math that I gave, your parents paid $100,000 for you to go to a private school for your K through 12 education. Like you had privilege. Your folks had money. He then proceeded to go to another private school that isn't even all that well received. I've seen multiple places online that make fun of Fairfield University, and this could be bullshit. I've seen multiple places online that make fun of Fairfield University as a place where rich people send their kids that didn't get very good grades, and even with their parents' money and influence, they couldn't get into Ivy League schools. Like, let that sink in for a minute. When we talk about projection and DSP's out of left field criticisms of other people that make you think, where did he even come up with that criticism? When you cycle everything back to, it's possible DSP is just projecting his own insecurities and his own beliefs about his faults onto other people, you start to realize that when he makes fun of people whose parents paid their way through their education, who went to Ivy League schools and stuff like that, maybe he's angry because his parents paid through his education and he didn't get the same success these other people did. Maybe he's angry because he didn't get into an Ivy League school and instead had to go to some backup private college and he didn't get the same success. And regarding that private university, I looked it up, and the tuition for Fairfield University, around about the time when he went, was basically like $130,000 for a bachelor's degree, which once again, if you adjust for inflation, you need to pretty much double it, which means he took out loans because, like, let's be real here, DSP did not get scholarships. I don't think. At least not any that were meaningful. This is a dude that paid a $250,000 for his college education, adjusted for inflation. Not then, but like adjusted for inflation. That was the equivalent of going and getting a $250,000 bachelor's degree today. And this is what you walked away with. You walked away with Phil Burnell of Burnell Productions, DSP Enterprises, which isn't a business, there wasn't a business, there isn't an entity. I didn't know I had to pay taxes on my income. I didn't know paying credit cards off with credit card cash advances and balance transfers was a bad idea. I didn't know that buying another condo on the other side of the country and leaving my old one to sit there and rot was a bad idea. I thought it would just work out on its own. Hiring somebody to rent out that condo on the other side of the country that I don't live in anymore is too much work. Instead, I'll just leave it sit there and rot. My stupid fucking aunt didn't tell me she had gout, and if she would have told me she had gout, then something in my life would have been different. That's what he got with his $250,000 finance degree. This dude didn't even learn how to adult from his private high school, or from his private primary, secondary, and post-secondary school. Bullshit. $350,000 of education, $350,000 of private education got you this bullshit. So just keep that in mind when DSP talks about how much he hates this Harvard idiot for ruining WB games.
Bloomberg released an extensive, detailed article outlining what's been going on over at WB Games for the last several years. Because if you're not aware, WB Games at one point was doing really well with games like Shadow of Mordor and the Batman Arkham trilogy. Most notably, their biggest success was Harry Potter. Remember, it was Hogwarts Legacy. And so you would think, oh, they're doing really good, except if you take a look at the last couple of years, there's been a complete 180. They are actually now tanking. Take a look at the flops of Suicide Squad, Gotham Knights, and recently Quidditch Champions, which was the Harry Potter spin-off game that flopped horribly, all right? So you might wonder, what is going on over at WB Games? Because they were like on a really big winning streak, but all of a sudden, it seems like they lost their way, and then there's been problem after problem after.
I'm also going to criticize this on a secondary level. This is the way DSP does news. He pulls up a single one news article and talks about what it says, as though it's his words, as though it's the results of his investigation, as though he has some type of inside knowledge that you don't. And he doesn't add anything to these articles other than stuff you can make fun of him for. Like he doesn't add any value to this that he wants to add to it. We'll put it that way.
After problem. Well, let's actually take a look. Last year, Warner Brothers Discovery took a $300 million loss on gaming, and the future is rife with additional challenges. So first off, in January, last month, Warner Brothers Discovery revealed that David Haddad, head of the struggling video game division, would be stepping down. To some who worked closely with the veteran executive, the news...
Hold on a minute. Why is it highlighted? Is this I Google searched something? And this is the article that showed up in my Google search highlight? I think you probably know what I'm talking about, how it highlights stuff. Or you can maybe select some text and right-click on it and say copy link to highlight, and it adds something to the URL bar. I don't see anything in the URL bar, though, that would suggest that. I don't know why it's highlighted like that. That's kind of odd.
News didn't come as a surprise. Their only question was, why did it take so long? So, we've been talking about this recently, have we not? We've been asking, doesn't it seem like the people who are in charge of the video games industry aren't people who know anything about the video games industry? Doesn't it seem like the people who they got in these boardrooms, in charge of these groups, are just executives of corporations? And yes, they have experience, but they have experience in other completely unrelated industries, yet they think somehow that gives them experience enough and authority enough to know how to do anything with gaming.
This is a fair criticism on DSP's part, but I think it comes from the wrong place. It's very legitimate to say the CEO of our company doesn't know anything about the industry our company works in, and it would probably be more ideal for us to have a CEO who is familiar with this industry. But at the same time, running a company, like being in, for example, accounting or customer support or manufacturing, you might get a little bit of an edge if you already have experience in the industry, but it doesn't matter that much, right? They're not hiring you to run a gaming company. You have people when you're a CEO who work for you, and they have people that work for you and so on, or for them and so on. And that's where your specialized expertise comes from. Your CEO, your CFO, your whatever, those C-level executives, like the farther you go up, the more generalized the knowledge probably is, right? They might know about the industry a little bit. It might give them an edge. But in the end, they're being hired to run a company, not to run a gaming company. They're not, like, when the company's looking for a new CEO, they're not putting out a listing that says, requires at least 5 years experience running a company in the gaming industry. They don't care, bro. Right? And like I said, it's a fair criticism to say that the people who are in a leadership role within company X, Y, or Z don't know anything about the industry that the company works in. But at the same time, DSP is only saying that because he thinks he could do better, right? That's where his criticism comes from. His criticism is, I'm a YouTuber who plays video games, and therefore I know more about the industry than David Haddad, head of the struggling video game division at Warner Brothers Discovery, Inc. And the reality of the matter is, maybe not. But DSP sees it as a very black and white. I have a business degree and I play video games, therefore I can run this multi-billion-dollar corporation video game division.
It doesn't, okay? What is happening is they keep getting these people in the positions of power who don't know shit, and they don't listen to anyone. They just kind of do whatever they want, and they've been running these game companies into the ground, okay? So, for example, I highlighted a whole bunch of stuff here that we're going to be talking about in this article. One of the company's biggest bets in development, a video game based on Wonder Woman. That is right. We heard about this game years ago, that they were developing a Wonder Woman game similar to the Arkham trilogy. It has struggled to coalesce, according to people familiar with the project. Early last year, it was completely rebooted and switched game directors. The game has already cost more than $100 million, said the people who asked not to be identified, discussing non-public information, and it's still years away from release if it ever even makes it to market. We'll talk more about that because it's discussed further in the article.
You like how right here it says that somebody else is the head of games and global streaming? So, do you think DSP is going to point out that the individual who left the company is, like, stepping down, but this other person who's head of games and global streaming is staying? I bet he doesn't.
That is right. We heard about this game years ago, that they were developing a Wonder Woman game similar to the Arkham trilogy. It has struggled to coalesce, according to people familiar with the project. Early last year, it was completely rebooted and switched game directors. The game has already cost more than $100 million, said the people who asked not to be identified, discussing non-public information, and it's still years away from release if it ever even makes it to market.
I also am going to criticize a little bit here, too. I would hazard a guess that these video games probably cost a lot of money to develop. So I know DSP's making a big deal out of $100 million, or the previous figure I think was $200 million that the company is, like, lost or something like that. I would hazard a guess that the company as a whole is probably doing more or less okay. It's just not doing as well as shareholders would like. Because there's a difference between a company going bankrupt, like DSP went bankrupt because he factually just threw away all his money, and a company making a little bit less than it should be, and it's not really making a profit. But it still has $1 bajillion in assets. I don't know. It's not really a meaningful criticism of what DSP is saying, but it's just something I kind of wanted to point out.
We'll talk more about that because it's discussed further in the article. But what kind of a leader is this guy? That he has a Wonder Woman game being made, spends $100 million on it, and then it ends up having to completely be started over from scratch.
Okay, the article did not say in any way, shape, or form that it is being started over from scratch. It was rebooted and switched directors. There's probably a lot of that $100 million that's going to be recouped. For example, if they had voice actors say lines and stuff like that, if they had people make 3D models and stuff like that, they might not be happy with certain aspects of the game development and still keep that stuff. And that's not free to make, right? Likewise, when you look at costs like this, what does that even mean? Are they including in that all of the finance and accounting people who are assigned to the project, who like also worked on other stuff? Probably. I don't know. We don't know. But DSP is going to pretend like he does. And it's also typical DSPism. How dare the super high level leader of the entire like game development part of Warner Brothers Discovery Inc. make the Wonder Woman game fail? I mean, did he though? Was it his fault? Like it says early last year, so like early 2024 it failed? You mean 4 years into a like damn near global recession? A luxury good project didn't work out well? No, that must have been the CEO guy's fault. There's no way other factors, like other people who work for the organization, could have been at fault for that. There's no way other factors, like the economic state of the people who are likely to buy this product, could have had an impact. There's no way that a whole lot of people quit the project because they weren't getting paid enough for the increased cost of living they were experiencing and decided to go do something else with their time that allowed them to move to a smaller, lower-cost community or something like that. There are so many ways to read into this that aren't, ha, 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 the CEO's a stupid idiot and he doesn't know how to run a gaming company. But DSP only wants to look at, to be fair, the article probably is also only looking at the CEO stepping down as like, well, why didn't he do it sooner? He's an idiot. This is bad journalism on DSP's part. Because like I said, he saw something in the sidebar on Twitter and clicked on it and went, I'm going to make a 25-minute video on this. I'm going to make a 25-minute rant on this as I drink from my mug with a stolen PNG on the side of it that I didn't make and that the people who gave me didn't make. They just probably found it on the internet somewhere. You responsible for that, DSP? Are you responsible for that bad behavior? Should you be held accountable for your crappy PNG mug?
Crash. So I think we know where all the profits are going at WB Games. They made all this money on the Arkham trilogy. They made all this money on Harry Potter, on Lord of the Rings, only to blow it all out with projects that fail and have to be rebooted.
I mean, that's how most companies work there, bud. That's how DSP's business works. He makes a lot of money on something, and then he spends it all on dumb shit like lighting and cameras and microphones that don't matter, that nobody asked for, that were poorly thought through, poorly planned, that had a lot of issues because he didn't buy the types of stuff that he should have. He just impulse bought the first thing that sounded good. Like, oh, they got the floating hand. I love it. Got the floating hand. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying CEO guy. I'm not saying corporation is like great and fantastic and they've never done wrong. But I'm saying DSP's journalism here is bad because he's assuming, because it's the easy thing to assume because nobody's going to criticize him for it except dumbasses like me. He's assuming that it's obviously big corpo's fault. It's big CEO's fault.
According to interviews with 24 current and former Warner Brothers employees, a lack of a strong and cohesive vision during Haddad's reign, a tumultuous period in which Warner Brothers struggled through multiple reorganizations.
So the company struggled with multiple reorganizations. I mean, that sounds like that would fuck up pretty much everything in the company. And probably isn't the CEO's fault. People make bad decisions when they run companies. But, I mean, are we really going to sit here and pretend that the only reason that this company was reorganizing is because the CEO was bad and didn't have strong, cohesive vision? I don't know.
Led to years of ineffectual trend chasing and wasted development time. Along the way, once revered studios under the Warner Brothers umbrella have taken reputational hits, lost key staff members, and burned through hundreds of millions of dollars. So what are we talking about? Exactly what we've been discussing here on the show recently. Trend chasing. Ooh, that live service game over there is making a ton of money. We need to do that. Instead of, what can we do? That's innovative. That's artistic.
Hey, DSP. I know that AAA slop gets views for other Twitch streamers, YouTube streamers, etc. But what can you do to innovate? You know how quickly he'd get banned? You know how quickly he would chat froze your ass for that shit? You know how quickly he would just ban you from his life for that shit? How dare you be a trend chaser? How dare you lack a strong, cohesive vision for your business? How fucking dare you restructure what you're doing with your time, with your streams, with your YouTube channels, multiple times over a period of years? How fucking dare you trend chase and waste time developing new crap that doesn't end up being effective? How dare the stuff under your business's umbrella take hits to its reputation because of your mismanagement? How dare you lose fucking community members and big donors? How dare you burn through tons of money? You see why maybe DSP is the wrong person to read this article as fact? Because if anybody were to make this paragraph about him, he would lose his goddamn mind. And he would say you have no idea what you're talking about because you're not running his business and you don't see his metrics, and he knows what he's doing.
That will delight gamers to want to play our games. Instead, it's how can we copy that formula of success that someone else came up with? Ladies and gentlemen, that never works, especially in the games industry. And
if it doesn't work, why the fuck are you doing it, you non-slur?
Here's why. By the time you have identified a trend that's working, and by the time that you then try to emulate and develop a game similar to that, the trend's over.
Whoa. I have not watched these, just to be clear. Like, these clips, I have not watched. So, like, that is insane. By the time you try to chase the trend, it's not going to work anymore. Like, does this guy own a fucking mirror?
Okay, take a look at the games that likely they've been trying to copy. Grand Theft Auto Online, Fortnite, and other team-based shooters like, say, some of the Tom Clancy games or even like Apex Legends, that kind of stuff. They think, oh, these live service games are the way of the future. We got to make it that everything is games as a service and ongoing for 10 years with microtransactions along the way. But the problem is, it takes you too long to try to make a game like that. By the time that games like Gotham Knights or Suicide Squad were already coming out, the industry had already turned on its head and flopped. You had games like Avengers that failed.
The industry had turned on its head and flopped? Like everything? Just all of it had just failed? Like what? I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Games such as Anthem that failed. So now the trend's over. You took 5+ years. It took too long. And this is what a leader like Haddad doesn't understand. He thought that he could trend chase and have his whole company follow suit of what everyone else was doing. And instead he made...
Give an example of something he trend chased, you fucking bastard. Like, DSP has no idea what he's talking about. He read a fucking sentence in an article, and he has made a judgment about this individual based on that one fucking sentence. Once again, if somebody were to do this to DSP, he would call you an idiot, and he would say the white coats need to come and take you to the insane asylum because you just can't fucking live your own life, and somebody needs to put you in a padded cell. That's what he would say if you said this about him. This is wild shit.
made an entire game studio like Rocksteady course correct and change what they were good at. Instead of making awesome single-player narrative-based games like the Batman Arkham trilogy, they made a watered-down, generic, cookie-cutter, copycat game like Suicide Squad that absolutely nobody wanted. And now their studio has taken a huge reputational hit because people think, oh, they lost their way, they don't know what they're doing. In reality, do you really think they wanted to make that game? Can we be honest? No, it was this jackass Haddad who was making them do things they didn't want to do. Much like when EA told BioWare, stop making narrative-based games and make Anthem. So there you have it. Boardroom bozos, idiots in suits with
and we're going back to the idiots in suits and stuff like that argument, where obviously the people at the upper echelon of the company are making individual product decisions about what the company is going to work on. You think the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery Inc., Haddad or whatever. I guess he's not the CEO. He's the maybe he was some like specific leader of a specific gaming thing. But you think this dude was looking at a list of like game releases over the next 10 years? Because probably that's how companies like this, I would assume, plan. Like, they're not looking at, okay, what games do we need to release this year? Okay, let's start working on those so we can get those done in the next couple of months. No, they're looking at like a 10, 15-year period out. Because it takes a long time to make these games, right? You think he's looking at a list of games and just like scrolling through it and saying, yeah, we're going to put all of our effort and money into this, this, and this, and we're not going to put any effort and money into this and this, and we're going to half-ass this and this. We want to specifically make those games fail. Like, I don't understand what DSP is trying to claim here. Like, what exactly does he think the influence was? People in high-level leadership decisions can make bad decisions that trickle down into products, but generally speaking, they're not really getting involved in stuff like that. And DSP would understand that if he'd ever been in an actual leadership role at any company in his life at 42, almost 43 years old. But because he's only ever worked in an entry-level capacity, he thinks the CEO has specific knowledge of everything he's been doing. He thinks the Wells Fargo CEO knew exactly how many loans DSP Gaming was fucking authorizing. He thinks that the Best Buy CEO knew exactly how many business accessory packages with mice and keyboards DSP Gaming was selling to businesses. He thinks the fucking salad and yogurt CEO knew exactly how many times DSP was hitting that yogurt pump at the mall in like 2006 or whatever. Like, there are CEOs who get involved in that stuff. And there are ones that make good decisions when they get involved and make bad decisions when they get involved. I'm not saying this Haddad guy wasn't one of the CEOs who got involved, and I'm not saying he didn't make bad decisions if he got involved. I'm saying that to put all of the onus on him is just an easy thing for the company to do, and it's an easy thing for big journalists like Bloomberg to do, and little journalists like DSP to do, because who in the fuck is going to defend that CEO? We all hate CEOs, right? We all hate big corpo, right?
with Harvard education are going to these fucking game companies, being put in positions of power, and
I also want to make sure that I understand correctly here. Give me 1 second and I will check. I'm going to check. Do not worry, I am a professional. David Haddad. Where did David Haddad go to school? I want to know. Where did David Haddad go to college? He went to the University of California, Berkeley. Maybe. Is that the right guy? Nope, this is some complete other whatever guy. What about this guy? Is this correct? This does not appear to be correct. I just want to know, did this guy actually go to Harvard? I mean, like, I'm pulling up this guy's IMDb page, and he got an MBA in marketing from Harvard and a bachelor's degree in business from Miami. So, like, okay. Yeah, I mean, he probably went to Harvard for like 2 years or something. I don't know how long you. I don't know what an MBA in marketing looks like after you've already got your bachelor's degree from another university. But I think it's probably fair to assume 4/6, give or take, of this individual's college education was at a state university, not Harvard. But we're all going to pretend like we need to really extreme criticize this guy's Harvard education.
Literally running them into the ground because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just morons. Even though they were born with the silver spoon in their fucking mouth, they don't know shit because the game's industry.
Remember that comment I made about DSP's between his parents and himself getting fucking $350,000 education from kindergarten through bachelor's degree? Yeah, but they had a silver spoon in their mouth.
Industry doesn't care if you're a prince or a pauper. All the games industry cares about is if you make good games. Let's continue.
Also, who's the games industry? The games industry doesn't care if you're a prince or a pauper. They just care if you make good games. Who is the games industry? When I talk about the automotive industry, I don't think anybody would assume I'm talking about auto enthusiasts who like to mod their cars and restore old cars and check out specs on new cars and, you know, collect cars and shit like that. Nobody would probably think that those people are in the games industry, but DSP is in the games industry because his sole and exclusive purpose for being involved is as a enterprise. It's a way for him to make money. So that's a fun, odd comment that DSP like constantly makes. The gaming industry, the content creation industry. I'm part of the content creation industry because I watch YouTube videos, guys.
Continue. Haddad, a Harvard Business School graduate who spent the early part of his career at toy and entertainment companies, joined Warner Brothers Games in 2013 and became head of the division 2 years.
So this guy was running the company he was in a leadership role in the company since 10 years ago. But they only started to have problems 4 years ago. So he did a good job for 6 out of the 10 years that he worked there. And once again, like I said before, there are all of these very clearly present external circumstances that might have had an impact on whether or not the company was in good shape, but somehow it was the CEO's fault. And I like this too. He's not going to read this. Staff griped that it could take months to receive answers to their questions on matters big and small, ranging from a studio's next game to whether they would participate in E3. So we can assume that that type of commentary means a couple of things. One, hey, are we going to get time off to go to E3? Well, the company hasn't made a decision on that yet. The second half of that sentence could have just been that. But we're all going to infer super negativity there. And then the first thing, a studio's next game. So what, the entire company is just sitting around waiting for the CEO to tell them what game to make? Obviously not. But we're going to infer super negativity from that. I feel bad. I feel bad that I'm super extreme, like shilling for this CEO type dude and this big corpo. Because I think even Bloomberg's article here is just bad journalism.
2 years later, colleagues describe him as a polished executive who does not appear to spend much time playing video games himself, something that subordinates occasionally found challenging as they tried to talk him through nuances of product decisions. Imagine you're a game developer.
Why is the big head making decisions about nuances of product decisions? Like, are you going to this guy asking where the mini-map needs to be on the screen? Because if so, you're a fucking idiot. Kind of sounds to me like maybe this company had a whole bunch of people working for it that couldn't make decisions for themselves. And they were constantly going to this guy and overloading him with minutia questions. And instead of answering their minutia questions, he was dealing with big picture stuff. And maybe these people that are complaining are the ones that ran the company to the ground. Like, damn, that's some good journalism when you're giving me the impression that maybe the CEO is a victim in all this.
And you're trying to tell a guy in a suit about how video games work, and the guy has never fucking played a video game. So he has no idea what you're talking about, but
Did it say he'd never played a video game? Because, like, I'm looking at the screen right now. They describe him, the colleagues describe him as a polished executive who does not appear to spend much time playing video games. The article doesn't allege that he's never played a video game before. DSP has to take it to the complete fucking extreme, though.
he's in charge of your company and your job. Wow, that sounds like a great place to work, doesn't it? Sounds like you should pay this guy a couple $1 million a year just because he went to Harvard, right?
Did they pay him a couple $1 million a year? DSP doesn't know. He just assumes. Did they only hire him because he went to Harvard? DSP doesn't know. He joined in 2013, and he spent the early part of his career at toy and entertainment companies. Like, I don't know, maybe he had some experience in the industry. But no, I mean, they only hired him because he went to college like 10 years ago.
This is a huge fucking problem in our industry, and not only the games industry, in the corporate world as a whole. If you're rich and you grow up rich, you go right to an Ivy League university. You just...
No, it's not a problem in the corporate world as a whole, DSP. You don't know what the corporate world as a whole looks like because you haven't worked in a corporation for 15 years in May. Like, you got laid off from a job in 2010 and never went back. But you want to tell me about the state of corporate America today because you have a very meaningful, flavorful, robust, and authentic take on what corporate America looks like behind the scenes today. Because you think you're a savant, you think you know everything about business, and you think that despite the fact that you got a business degree from a middling college where people with a lot of money and kids who had got bad grades dump their kids to at least get some networking done. This is something else that I didn't comment on. DSP obviously did no networking at that school. That's another thing the schools are good for just in general is you meet people, especially these kind of, cushier private schools and stuff like that. Like, you meet people, you make connections and stuff like that. DSP never did any of that shit. But anyway, DSP wants everybody to understand that he knows everything. And he has secret knowledge that you don't have. And he has wisdom that you don't have. And just take his word for it, bro.
Just get in, and then you get your education, which, by the way, is fucking easy because you're rich, you just get by, and then you get your degree.
I don't understand that comment. You just get your education because you're rich and you just get by. So what, you don't do your schoolwork and you just get an A? Because your daddy's rich? Is that how Harvard worked? Is that why Harvard has such a good reputation? It's all just a bunch of lizard people with a lot of money lying to the world that it's a good school? When in reality, it's just a bunch of rich people's kids who hang out and party all day. And then 4 years later, they're handed a bachelor's degree. 6 years later, they're handed a master's degree. 9 years later or whatever, I don't know how long it takes to get a PhD. You're handed a doctorate. Just fucking handed your shit. You just move on. And it's all just a big conspiracy to tell everybody that Harvard is a good school. Now, how come you're so mad you didn't go to Harvard there, DSP?
And you get right into a position of power, and you're a fucking dunce. This guy was in charge.
I know I'm pausing a lot, and I apologize. I apologize to you, the viewer. for how much I'm apologizing, but this is that projection thing. What DSP is really angry about when it comes to things like this is he thinks that if his parents had been just a little bit richer, they would have been able to put him into Harvard, and he would have been able to just hang out and have fun, and he would have gotten a degree with no effort. And then because he got a degree from Harvard, he would have been able to go out and get a high-paying job and not put in any effort and just hang out. He isn't actually mad that these people allegedly did no effort to get into college, did no effort at college, did no effort to get their job, and do no effort at their job. He's angry that he can't do that.
Of a video game company for a decade and knew nothing about video games. For a decade, he was in charge. Think about that. Gee, I wonder why they made bad decision after bad decision after bad fucking decision. It's not rocket science. They need to get people who understand video games in charge of video games. Let's continue. So, in regards to the Wonder Woman video game, you may be wondering what's going on with Wonder Woman. An initial version of Wonder Woman tried reimagining the Nemesis system with the game's namesake heroine befriending enemies, but that idea was tossed out in favor of a more traditional action-adventure game. So if you don't know what that means, the Nemesis system is a system that was designed specifically for the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games of Lord of the Rings. This system is very unique. Basically, there's enemies that actually have kind of a name and identity and a way that they fight and a way that they behave. And you fight that enemy, and if that enemy beats you, they get buffed and become your nemesis. And then there's this leveling system where you can go back and forth with the enemies. They could kill you, you could kill them. It's a very unique system. And it was only ever used for that Shadow of series. It's a patented system. They actually patented this system so no one else can use it, but they haven't used it since. And it's just like, why? It seems like a really good system. It seems like they could absolutely put it into something better. I don't know why they haven't.
Are you stupid? They already did it. Why would they follow the trend? They need to innovate and do something new, DSP. You just said that. You said that within the past 10 minutes. Because I keep pausing a whole lot. Within the past 10 minutes, you said people need to stop trend chasing and they need to do something new. Why would they use the thing that they already used, even if it was successful? They need to come up with something completely new.
They've just left it on the shelf and let it collect dust. I think that a Wonder Woman game where you have enemies.
Yeah, Jesse, DSP squandered fucking bubbles. He squandered Skittles. He squandered vests. All this shit that used to be a gimmick on his streams, I assume that's what you mean by bubbles. All this shit he had on his streams. And it just all never just is gone.
That are like supercharged and they can get tougher if they defeat you, and then you got to come back and defeat them when they're leveled up. Could work really well. I don't know why they thought that wouldn't work, but they scrapped the idea. So now Wonder Woman's fate remains in question, according to the people familiar with the business, because of.
I have a question for you, the viewer. What do you think about the AI green screen that DSP uses? Do you think it's better or worse than if he just used a green screen? You know how his chair sometimes goes away, how it gives him the floating hand, how it gets rid of the microphone, stuff like that. Like, if he used a real green screen, you'd see, like, the desk, and you'd see his chair all the time, and you'd see the microphone. Do you think that would be better with a real green screen, or do you think it would be better with the fake green screen? Like, from an actual professional content creator perspective, not a DSP as a meme perspective. Do you like the green screen with the AI that has those kind of quirks? Is it like worth it to get rid of things like the mic and the desk, or do you think it would be better to just have a real one behind him and you always see the microphone, the desk, and the chair?
The challenges following the changes in Monolith's leadership and issues surrounding the game's technology. Well, yeah, if you were designing the entire game around the Nemesis system, and then after years of development and $100 million, you decide to change the game entirely, I would think that would cause some problems. Yeah, I think so. So there you have it. So the Wonder Woman game is being developed, but it's been completely rebooted, and no one knows if it's ever going to come out. The Montreal studio, so this is WB Games Montreal, began working on a new live service Batman game that it hoped would freshen up the franchise by ditching Bruce Wayne. But halfway through development, as it struggled to make progress with the new project, the studio dropped the live service component. In 2022, it released Gotham Knights, which went on to receive mediocre reviews and generate tepid sales. So here you go. They originally were going to make a game that was going to be something different, but then probably Haddad, okay, it's live service. Take a look at Grand Theft Auto Online. Take a look at Fortnite. Take a look at the Tom Clancy games that your team-based online gameplay. Look at all these microtransactions. Look at Destiny. Look at all the money they're making on microtransactions. We have to have that, all right? And I guarantee you, they're probably like, are you sure? Because we had this idea of a different game that was going to be narrative-based. They say, no, live service. That's the thing. So they take 3-4 years to make the game, right? Goes through development hell because now they have to retool the game to be a live service game. And then by the time the game is almost done, the live service bubble has already popped. Avengers comes out and flops miserably. The game is a humongous sales failure. Everyone says this game would have been better as a single-player experience. Why did they fuck it up and make it this online grindy bullshit? So because of that, they scamper and they oh God, we've got to fucking get out there and fix it. So what do? They basically botch it and they rush to make it a single-player experience. Now, I played Gotham Knights, and here's the thing. The game's not bad, but you can tell it's not finished. You can tell this was absolutely meant to be a live service experience that they rushed and changed last minute to turn into a single-player game. And it's still an okay single-player game, but it definitely should have been fully single-player from the get-go, so it could have gotten more polish, better content, and it would have overall been better received. But instead, it feels like a rush job, and it's just not as good of a game as you would expect from what's considered a AAA gaming studio, and that's why it had tepid sales. It was okay, but it was nothing to write home about, right? Continuing on. The Montreal studio continued trying to get a new project off the ground. First, they pitched a game based on the comic book anti-hero John Constantine, who was played by Keanu Reeves in the 2005 feature film. Haddad's team, led by Vice President of Production Ben Bell, initially said that they were excited for the idea, but when asked for budget and timeline approvals, they remained non-committal, according to the people with the plan, familiar with plans. So they had an idea, but didn't follow through with it, and it never happened. Now, to be honest, would a Constantine game have worked? I don't know. Most people don't really know the Constantine character that well. He's never been like a ginormous, best-selling fan favorite, so it might have worked, it might not have. You know, it would have been a supernatural-style game. Continuing on here. Over the past 2 years, most of Montreal's leadership have resigned. Not just because... Oh, wait, I skipped a paragraph. Bell suggested they work instead on a game starring a more recognizable character like the Joker or the Flash. They chose to go with the superhero speedster, the Flash. But in 2023, Warner Brothers released Flash, a lavish movie starring Ezra Miller, which bombed at the box office, and the video game was scrapped. What? So I want you to think about this. The DC movie universe flops and fails, falls flat on its face, and it's releasing bomb after bomb. The Flash was essentially the last of those bombs, right? I think actually the last one was Aquaman 2, but you know what I'm saying? Like the Flash was supposed to be the big character movie or whatever. But why did the Flash fail? Well, number one, because of Ezra Miller. People don't like the guy. The guy is basically a criminal, all right? So people already don't like the guy who's in the titular role of the movie. On top of that, the movie was apparently laughably badly written, had good moments, but also had incredibly bad cringe ones. So the movie is bad. Does that mean the game is going to be bad? I mean, I get it. Maybe The Flash wasn't in the biggest of light at that time, but also keep in mind, we've got a DC movie reboot going on. We've got the new Superman movie coming out this summer. If this game was already starting development, right? You know that video games don't come out in a year. It probably would have taken 3-4 years. Maybe this game would have come out around 2027. In 2 years, people very well may like DC again. So why are you worried about the failure of a movie that's coming out right at the beginning of the development of a game? It doesn't even make sense. It does. Again, it's another knee-jerk, dumb-ass fucking reaction from management who don't know the games industry. The games industry is not necessarily representative of everything else going on with that IP. Just because the Flash movie failed doesn't mean a Flash game will fail as long as the game is good. But I think we're missing a key point here, right? Why aren't they focusing on making good games? They're focusing on do the live service model because that's making money for people. Oh, get a game that's based off of something that's popular in movies. How about this? How about you make a good video game first and then you worry about everything else? Do you notice that's the one key factor missing from this WB game story? No one in charge is saying, let's...
Imagine if DSP's business model was centered around the idea of him producing something that was good and then worrying about how to monetize it after that. Wouldn't that be fucking insane? It'd be crazy, man. Can't do that. He's not able to develop a cool product or something like that. Sorry for leaning into the mic and clipping. He's not able to develop a cool product or something like that. He just needs to make money now, and then he can worry about making a good product once he finds things that make money.
To make a good video game. Don't you think that's kind of important? I guess not to these idiots who are in charge. So continuing on, over the past 2 years, most of Montreal's leadership have resigned, not just because of the lack of new games, but also due to frustration with their corporate bosses, according to people familiar with the events. So imagine you are a game developer for Montreal, WB Games Montreal. You've made great games in the past, and you're told, make a live service game despite the fact that it's not going to work. Just do what you're told, right? Oh, make a Flash game. No, cancel the Flash game. Why would you want to work with them? I agree. What a shitty place to work. What an awful environment. Their motivation must be zero, right? Oh, I want to go to work today.
Once again, he's criticizing somebody right now for saying that they're going to do something and then saying that they're not. And he's suggesting that the people that work there must just be having their motivation killed by that type of leadership behavior. What about the obvious analogy here of DSP saying that he's going to do something on his schedule and then saying, never mind, I'm going to do this other thing on my schedule. DSP saying he's going to do this game and then saying, never mind, I'm not going to do that game, etc. DSP saying, I'm going to do this goal and then saying, never mind, I'm not going to do that goal. You don't think that maybe kills the motivation for people to be excited about your content? Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. DSP's not perfect. Juzzy definitely isn't perfect. I mean, have you looked at the guy? But most people have the ability to self-reflect, right? Most people have the ability to hear criticism about somebody out in the world doing something dumb. And if they do the exact same fucking thing, they go, huh, shit, people don't like that? You think DSP once thought during this 17-minute and 19-second rant he's been doing, damn, I do some of that stuff. Some of that stuff kind of sounds like how I run my business. Man, and I get it. Like, it's a little bit harder to draw analogies here because I'm an outside perspective and he's not, and it's comparing some CEO type guy in a big corpo environment that's running a big team of people to DSP. I get that. I do. But I'm just saying, like, I think that if DSP was half as intelligent as he likes to pretend he is, with his playlist of 392 DSP funny moments or whatever bullshit, I don't know. I feel like he has the ability to understand, or should have the ability to understand, that this type of behavior is stuff that he engages in. And all of the negative consequences of him engaging in that behavior also apply to him. I don't know if that makes sense.
Today, just to put a bunch of work into something that's going to be told to be canceled or it's going to flop because the management don't understand video games and they don't listen to us when we tell them stuff. Gee, what a great company, right? Definitely one of the ones that you want to work for. Unbelievable. All right, and then lastly, in September, well, this isn't last, this is next to last. In September, Warner Brothers published a follow-up game, Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, based on the broom-centric sport from the hit series. It received middling reviews with a rating of 66 out of 100 on Metacritic and has underperformed, according to Zaslav, a sign that not everything Harry Potter related is guaranteed to rack up huge sales. Avalanche is now working on new content for Hogwarts Legacy as well as a sequel. So wait a minute, let me get this straight. I just want to understand this. You made an amazing, groundbreaking, never before seen, complex game based around Harry Potter and Hogwarts and all of its lore and legacy. You rushed a game to market a year later that was a cheesy spin-off of the sport that should have been in Hogwarts Legacy, and everyone said it sucks that it's not in there. Why is it missing? You tried to sell it as a separate game a year and a half later, and it flopped.
As opposed to what? Selling it as a DLC and it flopping? And it negatively reflecting the very successful product? I don't know. I mean, like, I can think in my brain of a few examples of why that decision might have been made. Jesse said that they wanted to make it an esport, dude. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's a real deal, true and honest type comment or a joke, but like, I could believe it. We want to have this all be separate. We want to have its own kind of engine and mechanics and stuff like that we don't want to have to implement in Hogwarts Legacy. You know, we want something that's specific to this. I could believe that. I can come up with non-corpo shill CEO dick-sucking reasons why they might have made that decision. And I can't come up with a whole lot of reasons why doing what they did was bad. But I'm not the one with a business degree. DSP is, so let's let him tell us why it was bad.
No shit. Again, did they consult a single gamer about this game? Or was this Haddad and others who were in charge in the boardroom? Ooh, well, we have something with Hogwarts Legacy. Oh, we got to immediately get cash grab sales. Make another game. What can we do really fast? Well, everyone was upset that there was no Quidditch in it. Get Quidditch. Make a Quidditch game right now. Any market research questioning a single gamer on what they want? Because I'm pretty sure what they would have said was, we don't want a Quidditch game. We want Hogwarts Legacy 2 with Quidditch in it. Or they would have said, we want a DLC for Hogwarts Legacy that's like $20 that adds Quidditch. Not make a whole spin-off game of Quidditch. But again, boardroom mentality.
So his argument for why the decision was bad is they didn't do market research to figure out what the consumers wanted. How often does DSP do market research to see what consumers want? And how often does he listen to that feedback when he does get some feedback about what the consumers want? I'm going to move on. We're going to look at DSP talking about Monster Hunter Beta and Mai in Street Fighter 6.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Wrap for what was Sunday, the 9th of February, 2025. An interesting streaming day. Let's talk about it. It was my return day for the week after having yesterday off. My return day after that crazy 100 goals celebratory marathon that we did on Friday night. And we had a lot to talk about. We recapped the marathon on the podcast and talked about how it looks like Onimusha Warlords will be a new ongoing playthrough of mine. I also told you guys how my neck still isn't recovered and I'm still getting different kinds of shooting pain in my shoulder and neck every single day. And that I actually got a special pillow. I think it's called an orthopedic pillow. I think it's orthopedic or orthopedic. It's one of those. But it's coming. It actually arrived today. I'm going to sleep on it tonight and see if sleeping properly on a pillow with the correct support will actually help settle my neck back to where it needs to be. We also had a big segment talking about the PlayStation Network outage that happened over the last 48 hours and the repercussions it had, in my opinion, about these gaming networks of Xbox and PlayStation requiring you to have these networks and paying for them to play and have all these features. So that was the podcast, and the first stream today was the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. In a nutshell, the graphics were outstanding on PC. It actually ran beautifully at 4K, 60 frames per second on my PC. The gameplay elements were sound. I was switching between a ranged cannon and a hammer. There was 4 or 5 big variety of enemies in the DLC, in the beta that were very fun to fight against. I even did some online co-op, jumping in and out of missions and having people jump into my missions. It was good. The only bummer is people did not show up to support the stream.
This is somebody that loves gaming, by the way. Game ran real well, looked real nice, had some interesting gameplay. I got to play with other people a little bit. But man, I didn't make very much money. Fuck you, DSP.
The number of viewers was roughly on average between maybe 300, 350 tops between both streams together. And basically, we were more than halfway through the stream with only about an hour to go. And we hadn't even hit halfway to the goal. And all of the contributions had come in during the podcast. No lie, $4 had come in during the game. And I'm like, for people who really asked for me to try Monster Hunter again a third time, it doesn't seem like many of you care. So a few other people did contribute, and by the end of the stream, we got about $100, but we didn't hit the goal. And quite frankly, it just didn't seem like a lot of people were engaged. Again, half the audience was saying they don't like this game and it's repetitive and grindy. And actually, it was I want to say it was Mortarian said, just so you know, when you play the real Monster Hunter game, it's not like this beta. In this beta, you're all good to go. But in the real game, you can only fight maybe 1 or 2 enemies, and then you have to level your equipment up. And to do that, you have to repetitively fight those same big monster enemies over and over to grind for components to level up your weapons and armor. If you don't, you can't beat any better enemies.
Oof, so is he just basically laying the groundwork for I'm not going to play the real game when it comes out? I've talked about this in Discord, and maybe people are tired of hearing it. Maybe people don't think it's an interesting piece of commentary. But this dude's entire channel right now pretty much is just filler. He's got you know what? No. We're gonna go look at his gamer schedule. I'm gonna make you fucking look at it. I'm gonna make you angry or something. I don't know. Yeah, you can see it. This is his schedule. He's got Onimusha Warlords, which is, I think, supposed to be very, very fucking short. Maybe he could, if he didn't only have 2 hours of gameplay in a day stream and 2 hours of gameplay in a night stream, he could finish it in a stream, right? He's gonna start playing that both on Wednesday and Sunday. He's gonna start over on Sunday for people that didn't see it. That's a joke. He's not actually gonna do that. He just doesn't give a shit about his fucking thing. Street Fighter 6. I'm gonna argue here that fighting game content for DSP is filler. Right? Call of Duty Black Ops is filler. Either Mai in Street Fighter 6 or Marvel vs. Capcom 2 collection or whatever is filler. Either Elden Ring beta, which is filler, or Ninja Gaiden, which god damn he should have beaten by now, is another very short game. So we've got super short game, and we've got him starting super short game and a bunch of filler. We've got him finishing super short game. We've got day off. And then we've got him continuing super short game. I assume that's what that's supposed to be on Sunday. And Black Ops, which is more filler. So we've got starting super short game, second stream of super short game, completing super short game, day off, and then filler. And I understand that he's got the Truth Seekers show. I feel like that shit just kills his channel. Like, does anybody, like, does that, maybe I need some correction here. Does that get uploaded to DSP's channel? Like, he doesn't do it live on his channel. You have to go to someone else's channel, and if it's anything like last time, he won't even really effectively link to it or tell you where to go to find it, or anything like that. I at least, and I know I don't pay the most attention in the world, I at least couldn't find it last time. It was like very difficult for me to figure out where exactly I could go to watch this excellent content. And I don't think he's done a good job hyping it up live either. Like, hey guys, I'm going to be doing this show. I hope you're excited. I don't think I've seen any of that. So his entire channel for this 5-day period on his schedule is, in order of quantity of content, it's filler, pre-stream, this show he's doing on someone else's channel, and short game that he's theoretically going to finish, Omninutia and Onminutia, and Ninja Gaiden 2. Theoretically, he could finish those this week. Like, I've seen how long they're supposed to be. If he's playing 2 day streams of Warlords, I'm not going to try to say the name again, and he's playing a night stream of Ninja Gaiden 2, I bet those 2 games are done this week. Unless he really stalls the shit out. This is why his channel is dying. It's because he makes decisions like this. Instead of going out and playing some kind of weird indie game and just saying to people, I'm going to play this because not a whole lot of other like AAA releases right now. There's not a whole lot of long releases right now. There's not a lot of stuff that I'm really super excited about right now. I'm not necessarily going to finish this game. This is just something for me to play and hang out with you guys. He's going to play Call of Duty where he ignores the chat. He's going to play Street Fighter and MVC2 where he's going to ignore the chat. And he's going to play the Elden Ring beta where he's going to ignore the chat. And he's going to play 2 really short games that I don't think anybody really cares about. So, damn. That's gross. You like that? New game playthroughs begin this month! ! All caps. The new game playthroughs that begin this month is Onminutia Warlords. That's it. Unless he wants to count the beta being a new playthrough, which I would say is a stretch. Because it's a beta, first of all. It might be trash. And 2, he's probably going to have to start over when it actually comes out. I would assume his beta progress isn't going to carry over. It'd be a little different if it was a demo. It'd be a little different if it was a preview, whatever. Like, this is a beta. This is intended to be, we want people to test the game and give us our feedback, not we want people to sign up just to drum up hype for the game and or make themselves attention and money. But yeah, that's a fun time.
So literally the game is an endless loop of grind, and the reason people like it is because they team up with friends and parties, and it's more of a social aspect. But as for a solo grinding game, it's an insanely long grind, and it's probably not going to work for your streams or your audience. And I was like, then I guess we're not playing it, you know? Number one, didn't get a lot of attendance, didn't get the support, and people are telling me it's not going to work.
Didn't get a lot of money, didn't get a lot of attention, going to be a lot of work. That's the death knell. That is the three deadly sins for DSP. I'm not going to get a lot of money. I'm not going to get a lot of attention, and I'm going to have to put in effort. Fuck it. I'm not doing it.
For my stream types. Now, here's the thing. The game is great. Like, I'm not going to hate on the game. I think it's actually outstanding.
You going to play it off screen? You going to play it on your own time because you like gaming so much? No? Okay.
It just sucks. It seems like it ain't going to work for me. But you check out the gameplay. It's about 2.5 hours of gameplay. It's live on.
I'm not going to check out the gameplay, you stupid fucking asshole. You're not playing the game. You're not finishing it. Why the hell would I go watch you play it? You didn't even fucking enjoy it. You probably bitched about donations the whole damn time. You probably bitched about how many people were watching the whole damn time. You probably bitched about how people were telling you it was going to be a grind. You were very disappointed. You probably did the sigh and the head shake thing too. And you said, oh man, I really thought that this was going to be a playthrough, but if you're telling me that it's going to be this, that, and the other thing, then I guess I can't play it for my streams because, it's just not going to work for my audience. Here's another idea. How about maybe you shouldn't go out there and sign yourself up for a beta and potentially take up a slot that somebody else could have used without knowing anything about the game? Maybe you could have done some research into the game. Maybe since you haven't liked the past couple of Monster Hunter games, I think, maybe that's slander, you should skip it. Like, this is Mr. the CEO should have done better market research, man. Played 2.5 hours of a beta, uploaded it to his channel, accepted donos the whole time, did it for clout, and then said, you know what, I don't think I'm going to play that for my channel after all. Cool. Thanks for a wasted beta slot. Thanks for a wasted night stream, day stream, whatever. Like, all of that was fucking garbage. But he's going to give you this face and act like he's so disappointed that he can't make money on it and he can't get attention off of it any more than he already has.
On the channel. Tonight in Street Fighter 6, the return of Mai Shiranui. And
thank goodness it was free.
First hour, I at first had connection issues for about 20 minutes where my internet kept dropping out, and then it seemed to solidify and not have those issues anymore. So then I said, let's do some more, and I played for about a half an hour. I was on a tear tonight. I think someone was counting, and they were like, yeah, you're like 20-something wins and less than 10 losses. You're whooping everyone's ass with Mai. So basically,
you're whooping everybody's ass because you have a 2-to-1 win-loss ratio? Isn't that kind of his norm? Slightly above 50%?
people were like, will you do your ranked placements tonight? I said, I don't know. It doesn't seem to make much sense.
God damn, no, it does not make any sense. What do you mean, I don't know? Are you going to do ranked placements? Why would he do ranked placements? He's not going to fucking play the game. Character. He's not going to play the character. Like, all of this guy's content is just fucking filler. It's just zero thought put in. I'm just going to fucking go on autopilot bullshit. Hey, Phil, I know that you only play fighting games about 2 hours a week, and it's not even always Street Fighter 6. And I know that you have a propensity for, I think propensity is the right word. I know you have a pattern of playing new characters in a fighting game, like for a couple of weeks, tops, and then you never touch them again because other people learn how to play them, and when you smell effort, you run away like a little bitch. But are you going to go and get your ranked placements so that you can brag about how you're a master rank?
Because the internet was bad, but I said, but if you support me, I will. So we did, and we hit my goal. I was like, well, you know what? I'll do it then. If the audience supported me, I'll go ahead and I'll do the ranked placements. I go to do them. And every single match in rank that I played tonight started at 4 stars, and during the match degraded to 3. When
Okay. Who fucking cares? Like, what was your rank, bro?
I told it to search only for 5-star matches, it wouldn't locate any opponents.
Once again, who cares, bro? Like, what was your rank? I don't care about the connection difficulties.
What has happened in Street Fighter 6? The entire system has fallen apart because basically the player base has dipped. You know,
nope, I'm not gonna.
And it will not locate anyone near you with a good connection anymore. So it's basically finding people, you know, that have these weird fluctuating internet connections to me. And I didn't have a single match.
Oh, I am going to say something. This is a dude who uses a USB wireless connection and fucking goes through a floor and a wall and like a bunch of electrical conduit and shit like that to get to his modem downstairs to play fighting games. And he wants to talk about how other people have weird fluctuating connections as he squishes his fucking eyes together so goddamn hard. They are probably like in the back of his head right now because he has to exaggerate something. So he's got to make this face. Like, goddamn, this is like, you could almost Photoshop his eyes out of this and like make some kind of like Lovecraftian monster out of his face. Like, you know, the Fallout TV show guy with the one eye in the middle. You could do that right now. And you'd barely have to do any editing because he has basically made his eyes disappear. I don't know how you do that.
Ranked tonight that went well. They were all laggy. I'm not kidding. You just watch the footage and you'll see what I mean. It was
with his very robust eyelashes. I don't know how he made his eyes just disappear like that.
Going up and down like this. Now, I actually did really good for the fact that I got screwed over several matches because of the internet. I still did really good, and I got the maximum possible rating with my...
Told you. Hey, DSP, go get your ratings so you can brag about your ratings.
And started off a 5-star diamond. And then I said, well, let's play a few more. Complete waste of time. Every single set that I tried to play after that was laggy, dropping, freezing, skyrocketing in ping. It was a...
Then why do you play the game? 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 Why do you play the game if the game sucks? Why do you play the game if the game sucks? Why do you play the game if the game sucks? Because he needs filler. Because he needs filler. There's no AAA slop right now, so he needs filler. This shit really drives me up the fucking wall. We're going to go on to the next segment because I don't think he's going to say anything else. He doesn't say every fighting game stream. The Monster Hunter beta stuff is what I was really interested in. We're going to talk about DSP in his early 40s, realizing that paying to play video games online and having Sony or Microsoft run a network of computer servers to do that for you is maybe silly.
The one big thing that I want to talk about.
And all it took was people donating a PC and another PC and a camera and a microphone and a keyboard and a mouse and a desk and begging for 15 years for him to stop doing console man for him to realize this.
It's something that's been going down the last 48 hours. Particularly, it actually started during my marathon, all right? And it persisted throughout that marathon and even into my day off yesterday. And I felt that it would be an interesting topic to talk about. By the way, Iron Chef Sakai has gifted the first sub of the day over on Kick. So thank you, Iron Chef Sakai. Let's get you on the leaderboard. I appreciate that.
This is a very cursed font,
Now,
by the
$70
way,
of support.
with the little C's that are like little cogs.
And climbing almost halfway to
Like, where did he even find this?
our goal for the stream. Let's hit it. Okay. So, for the first time in a very long time, out of nowhere, back on Friday, February 7th, PlayStation Network went down. And unlike other times that it's gone down in recent memory, it didn't go down for an hour or two and then come back up. This was an extended outage. This lasted...
I'm a fact check. The community has elected to do a fact check. PlayStation Network status. That's only going to give me the current status. I don't think I'm going to be able to debunk this. I guess I could go to down detector, but that might not give me... Yeah, that's only going to give me 24 hours. I guess I can't debunk his claim that this is like a super bad thing or whatever, and super unusual.
Over 24 hours. And for the first time...
So he must be right.
People started to realize just how big of a deal it is when one of these game networks go down and how much it actually affects your access to content.
That's very, 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 very stupid. You know how many outages have occurred in the past, 5 years? On services like Discord or Twitch or YouTube or Steam or whatever, third-party stuff like Cloudflare that has just screwed everybody over and prevented people from doing stuff online that they like to do. But the only thing DSP knows about, because he's an extreme fucking console guy even now, is the PSN outage. And because it's gaming adjacent, he thinks he's an expert in it too, which is also part of it. He's not going to talk about any of those other outages that have indicated that maybe it's a bad idea to rely on one company to do insert thing here for the entire world. He's not going to do that. We had CloudStrike. Anybody remember CloudStrike in the chat? CloudStrike, I think, was 2024, where it just like annihilated shit all over the place. Like we had Windows computers in traffic control towers and stuff like that that just wouldn't work anymore. They were just basically fucking blue screening of death, and there was nothing you could do about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering all that incorrectly, but yeah, we're gonna pretend like gaming. We're gonna pretend like gaming here is what led the human race to understand that maybe this centralized control that certain groups have over certain types of very widespread services is bad.
Okay. This outage lasted over 24 hours, and then it started to slowly come back for people over the course of the last 24 hours. But some people right now actually are still reporting that it is down for them, while others are saying that it went up like fast. So it seems like it's a spotty issue, and it was worse for some and better for others, which is kind of weird. It's a network outage. Why would it affect different people differently in different regions? I guess it had something to do with certain servers.
Because it's a network. That's why it had more impact in some areas than in other areas. Stop scratching your chest and stop pulling your collar away from your neck. Just don't wear collared shirts if they bug you that much.
Or whatever, okay? So, here's the deal with this, right? In regards to PlayStation Network going down and causing this widespread havoc, I recall many, many years ago, back in the PlayStation 3 era, you may recall it was 2011, and due to some hacker group, what was the name of this? Was it like Lizard Squad or something like that? They hacked PlayStation Network apparently.
I hope that DSP is incorrect and that name is just completely made up in his head, but I'm guessing it's probably correct. It was like Lizard Squad or something.
And due to the security breach, Sony went into panic mode because they were afraid that all the customer data was going to end up being compromised. So they purposefully took down PlayStation Network for like a month. No one could play games on PlayStation Network.
Yeah, he's talking about the incident in 2011. I did read about that when I was looking up the historical PSN outages.
Network for like 30 days as they redesigned their security system in order to prevent this kind of access from happening in the future. Since 2011, we have not seen anything like this happen to any major gaming network. Not the Xbox Live system, not PlayStation Network, not the Steam Network.
I feel like that is a lie. In 14 years, we haven't seen a major outage on PSN, Steam, or Microsoft. Really? I mean, if we haven't, then big ups, but that's odd.
There's been some outages here or there, but never anything so extensively bad that it's gone down for like more than a day. Uses a blip here, a blip there, down a few hours, big deal, comes back. So this was big news that PlayStation Network was down on Friday. Now you maybe say, well, I don't really get it. Like, why is this such a big deal? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously, when PlayStation Network is down, it means no one can play any PlayStation games online at all. Doesn't matter what console you're on, PS3, PS4, PS4 Pro, PS5, PS5 Pro. When there's no network, you're not playing anything online at all. It's just not possible, okay? And that sucks, obviously, right? But people started to realize that in the modern era of 2025 gaming, it's not necessarily just about online play anymore, okay? So first off, if you have what's called console sharing enabled, meaning you have multiple accounts on your console and they can access your game library or vice versa, or if you don't have your console enabled as what's called the primary console for your account, when PSN is down, you can't play any games. Yeah, so unless it is your console and the primary console and everything's linked that way,
you will own nothing and you will like it.
You no longer have access to any games at all. So there were some people who were like, I booted up my PS5 and because Xbox Live was down, I couldn't access any games on my console at all. They were all just like, nope, sorry, come back later. Okay, now, there's some other situations as well that came up that people didn't realize. For example, there are some games that you think you're playing offline, but for some odd reason, they have an always online mechanic you may not even be aware of, and they don't have the ability to be played without that internet connection, and therefore, you can't play them, okay? Now, that's stupid. If it's a single-player game and you're not actively choosing to access the online multiplayer, why can't you play the game? Some games were just coded like that. So there were a good selection of games that were not available when PlayStation Network was down, simply because of the way that they were made with this online always connection issue. In addition to this, a huge oversight was discovered that no one had figured out until this happened. Just listen to this one. So as you well know,
I'm going to be angry if this is a nothing take with how much lead up he gave to that and multiple, like a sip and a cup refill.
When PlayStation 5 was released many years ago, there were two models, the disc and discless versions. There's one model that had the disc drive installed onto it and another model that didn't have the disc drive. Now, what Sony eventually did is they started selling the disc drive separately as an add-on. And now with the current PS5 Pro system, the base system does not come with the disc drive no matter what. You have to get just the base system without the drive. If you want the drive, you have to buy it separately and then have it be a separate accessory or peripheral for your PS5 Pro, okay? However, get this. When you boot up your PS5 Pro, your disc drive has to sync with your PS5 via the PlayStation Network. Yeah. So there were people who had their PS5 Pros off and the network went down. They turned on their PS5 Pro, and since the network was down, they couldn't use their disc drive, and they owned all of their games on disc. So they couldn't play any games at all because their disc drive was essentially bricked until PlayStation Network came back.
You will own nothing, and you will like it.
Now, some people had left their PS5s on, and that was okay because the link had already been established, and it didn't need to double check it, so it was fine. But if you turned off your PS5 Pro, you couldn't use your disc drive till the network came back. So this is what I mean. What's happening now more and more is basically we are all becoming reliant on an always connected internet connection. And if
I mean, yeah, this is his hot take. Requiring you to be online at all times and that the remote authentication server be online at all times to do things that have nothing to do with online is bad. I mean, people have been saying this about PC gaming for a long time, bud. This isn't a hot take. I know he thinks he's just goddamn fucking whatever. He's smelling his own farts right now and going, oh man, that is good. That is good. I need more of that. But like, people have been talking about this for a long time. This PSN issue is not what prompted the discussion about why always online requirements are bad. That's been a discussion, bud. And it probably started with PC gaming. Like, I would hazard a guess it's because of random PC games that require you to phone home and shit for no fucking reason. Not PlayStations that are probably for anti-piracy reasons, verifying that your disk drive is like it's probably just Sony spying on you for anti-piracy reasons, if we're being real. They're probably just trying to verify, like, well, what games have DS Pagaman been playing lately, and are those games that, like, he bought, or are those just, like, burned discs? I don't know, I'm just making shit up.
we don't have internet, we can't do anything, okay? Right now, if my internet went out, I'm pretty sure I could play a bunch of games on my PC, and I could still record. I just obviously wouldn't be able to stream or upload, but at least I'd be able to play a lot of the games, you know.
Why would you do that when you can just go downstairs, sit on the couch, and play WWE Champions on your cellular data on your phone?
Obviously, I can't play Street Fighter Online.
It's just a weird theoretical. Like, who fucking cares, bro?
You know, I can't play anything with an online component, but I could still boot up and play games, right? Via Steam, these games are offline, so...
That's not necessarily true. A lot of the PC games, I mean, maybe not a lot. Maybe that's kind of gone by the wayside a little bit because people got mad about it. But a lot of PC games at one point in time were online only. Or phone home required or whatever. Like, he just assumes that this is only a PlayStation Network thing. He assumes that this is only an issue on console gaming. It's just more bad journalism from DSP because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And since that's the crux of this, is why do we need to do that? I'm going to move on to DSP's meltdown over fake neck and back pain.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. Snort, snort, snort. Tell you, drip, snort, snort. I got the drip. Yo.
So, let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about my neck. As you guys know, it was about 1 week ago when I told you guys, man, I was sleeping and I guess I must have wrenched my neck in my sleep and did something to really hurt it.
This is an odd thing for him to go on about for as long as he's going on about it. I think that it is incredibly goofy for him to still, to this day, be talking about how he hurt his neck as a 42-year-old man. Do something about it or stop complaining about it. This is that parasocial type, whatever I was talking about before. I don't care that you hurt your neck. I really don't. If you want to complain to somebody about the fact that your neck hurt, go complain to a doctor or your wife. I don't care.
And I told you the story about how over like 12, 13 years ago, one day I'm in the doorway of my bathroom back when I lived in the condo in Connecticut, and I just twist my head the wrong way, and I get incredibly bad shooting pain going all the way down my neck, through my shoulder, all the way down the back of my arm, into the forearm, into my thumb, and I lost feeling in my thumb, and I literally could not feel my thumb for 2 months. It was
Think you went to the doctor for that?
that bad. 2 months of numbness, pain, and nerve problems. Now, this is because...
Okay, numbness and pain doesn't make sense. Do you mean you had pain down your neck and arm and then numbness in your thumb? Because that's a very weird, highly specific fucking problem to have. And nerve problems. How do you know it's a nerve problem? You go to a doctor and get that diagnosed?
Basically, I have a chronic condition with my spine that's getting worse as I get older. There's nothing I can really do about it.
Yeah, it's getting worse as you get older. That's why there's no evidence of it getting worse as you get older. Did you go to a doctor for not being able to feel your thumb and having pain radiating from your spine down to your fucking thumb for 2 months a number of years ago?
It's hereditary. My dad also has it.
The answer is no. I mean, that's I'm going to spoil that for everybody. I have not seen this clip, but I guarantee you the answer to that question is no. I never went to the doctor. I just determined that I am a special snowflake with a very specific problem that also, by the way, my dad had.
And he's much older than me, and he's getting tons of problems now in his old age, and it sucks because it means that's...
Your dad is getting tons of problems in his old age, but yet he still works and like is part of the community and probably bangs his wife. And he's 20 or whatever years older than you. But you are an invalid and you need a stool to sit on in your shower because your issues are so fucking bad.
That's what I'm in store for. So,
like, unironically, what is he going to do when he's 70 and he has to stream because he doesn't have any money? And he's got a weird specific injury that makes his left thumb not work or his right thumb not work. Can't play video games then. Can't hold a mouse. Can't press buttons on a controller. Unless you get like an accessible mouse, an accessible controller. Is that what he's going to be? Is he going to be an accessibility advocate? After calling people the various slurs for mentally ill and intellectually disabled all day for 15, 20 years? He's going to become a disability advocate. And then he's going to get super ultra canceled.
A week ago, I did something in my sleep. I wake up and I got, again, this shooting nerve pain. Now, the good news is...
Keep using that word, and I don't think it means what you think it means. Shooting nerve pain. How do you know it's nerve pain? How do you know it's nerve pain? How do you know it's nerve pain? I fucking hate when he self-diagnoses himself with medical issues.
I didn't do it so badly that my forearm and thumb are affected. They're not. My actual hands and, my arms are okay. But I just got this ongoing shooting pain.
Have you gone to the doctor?
A tightness and just discomfort in my shoulder and neck that isn't going away. Sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's way worse.
Are you continuing to sleep the same way? Are you continuing to have bad posture all day? Are you continuing to... Excuse me, I had to cough. Are you continuing to hover your hand over a mouse all day? Are you doing literally anything in the absence of a doctor's advice to try and adjust and give your arm and back and neck a break? No? Okay.
And it all depends on what's going on. Over the course of this last week, I tried mitigating it. I tried doing things. Nothing was working.
Give me an example of how you tried to mitigate it.
Okay. In fact, I felt like after the marathon on Friday, I went to sleep.
Oh, so you had an issue and then you had a marathon. Then you did extra fucking labor. Remember, he's a blue-collar worker. You did extra manual labor after you hurt your neck and it didn't go away. The pain didn't go away. Weird.
When I woke up on Saturday morning, my day off, it was the worst it's been all week.
Wow, it's almost like it might have something to do with you streaming and something you do in your setup. Huh. Chat, I've just got this question for you. Have you ever sat in a desk with multiple monitors and had something on a monitor off to the side, not in front of you, and looked at that side monitor for a long time and had your neck start to feel like a little strained, a little weird? Because that's what this fucker does all day. I don't like staring at something on my left or right monitor. I got 3 monitors, and they're just little 1080p monitors. They're just little 23 or whatever inch monitors. They're not big, but it's still enough of a turn on my neck that I don't want to do that for hours at a time. But this dude does. This dude does. He just changed his setup so that he has to twist even more to look at the chat in OBS. Unless he wants to swivel in his chair. And all of a sudden he's starting to have more this weird neck problem. God damn, it must be everything in the universe's fault and not his. There's no way it could be his fault.
It was incredible nerve pain all day long, ongoing, and I just basically had to phase it out. I'm a little lucky in this regard. Why? Because I used to have a debilitating back injury between my L4, L5 vertebrae. I had a severely herniated...
Used to? You used to have a severely herniated disc? Did it go away? Because I thought you said that you've had this for like 10 to 15 years and it's just going to continue to get worse. But you used to?
Herniated disc in my 20s.
In your 20s?
And it was incredible pain and numbness for about...
It was incredible pain and numbness. That doesn't make any sense. Where did you have pain? Where did you have numbness? Did you shit your pants all the time? Because you said that vertebrae is the one that controls your colon.
Oh, geez. If I think about the time period, it was probably from my late 20s, or probably around the time that I was like 25, 26.
25, 26 is late 20s, by the way.
All the way through, probably until like maybe 7, 8 years ago.
So, literally when he moved. You like how he just did the math on that? Yeah, I had that problem until I moved to Seattle. Yeah, insurance company out in Connecticut that I got a whole bunch of medical payments for that car accident that I got into. Yeah, I live in a different state now, and now my medical injury is okay. Don't sue me for fraud, please.
So
I'm not literally saying he committed fraud and got a whole bunch of money by claiming he had a back injury, but it is very fucking suspicious how he just can't keep this story straight on how he hurt his back and what type of injury it is and what the doctor said when he went in and when it happened and what the impact to him is and whether or not it has gone away or whether it's going to continue to get worse for the rest of his life or this or that or the other thing. It is incredibly fucking suspicious how he just can't keep any of these stories straight. It is wild. He is such a fucking liar and nobody should believe him about anything. We got to pause here. Mid-snort, look at those neck tendon things. Look at how much strain and pressure he's putting on his body to do this sniff you're about to hear. Are you ready? I'm going to unpause. Yes, that was nice.
This was ongoing for, the greater part of a decade. So I was used to that level of pain.
Also, I want to point out that he's sitting there swiveling back and forth in his chair while trying to stare at the camera. Maybe don't do that if your neck hurts.
I'm used to having ongoing shooting nerve pain, and I've just learned to phase it out. So right now...
The fucking stupidest, dumb fucking bullshit in the world. Oh yeah, I'm so used to having pain that I just have such a high tolerance for it. Remember when he went out and power washed his fucking driveway for like 20 minutes and he got sunburned? And he actually just couldn't stream until it healed.
Now, I might be like, oh my God, I can't work. I can't do anything. But I'm actually used to it. And I know that's sad, but I'm just...
If you're used to it, why do we have an entire segment bitching about it, you stupid idiot?
Sensitized to this kind of pain because I've had it for so long. So it's just not that big of a deal for me. I just try not to think about it. And quite honestly, if I keep myself busy with stuff, I don't even think about it and it doesn't really affect me.
Ugh.
Okay? But the problem has been that there's things that I've wanted to do this week. For example, I want to play Call of Duty on mouse and keyboard. And mouse and keyboard means I got to have my hands and arms up to play. And that's going to put stress on my shoulder and neck muscles. And I don't know if I want to.
Man, it sure would be nice if you worked a job where he had workers' comp insurance. And this probably workplace injury could be addressed. And he could have his company pay for the injury. And at this point in his life, I would hope he's in some kind of role where he gets medical time off. And I would hope that they give him like a bonus time off type situation deal where because of the fucking work he does is what got him hurt, it doesn't dip into his other PTO type stuff. I don't know what kind of compensation situation he could have in this theoretical 9-to-5 job. But I know that I work on a computer all day, and if I had something like carpal tunnel or whatever, my work would 100% be on the hook to pay for my medical treatments for that carpal tunnel. I use a computer for work. Obviously, it's related to work. That's a pretty logical jump. And they're going to be required to not just pay for my medical care, they're going to be required to make sure that I have probably, some level of ergonomic stuff so that I don't get hurt again. Any time that I have to spend on light duty or just plain time off, I'm going to get paid for because work's the one that got me hurt. But I'm just a stupid fucking bastard that works a 9-to-5. I'm an idiot for living that kind of unstable, uncertain lifestyle.
To do that with my back hurting me so much. It's a risk. What if I end up hurting it worse?
I thought your neck hurt. I thought you had such a high pain tolerance you could just kind of push through it.
I don't know what's going to happen. But what sucks is Call of Duty's been a great part of the rotation. You guys
I've been making a lot of money on it, so I'm just going to go ahead and let my body get hurt.
have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it ever since I started playing on my...
No 42-year-old has ever said to themselves before, man, I wish I hadn't pushed my body so hard in an attempt to make a living because now my body's so fucked up I'm never going to get it back to the way it was.
And keyboard about a month ago. It's been great. Like, I'm doing better and better. And now I've gotten good with all kinds of different weapons that previously I hadn't used. Now we're using an Uzi and powering it up after that. I think I want to try sniping. So I don't want to have now a game get completely removed from rotation because of this stupid injury that I have. So basically, what I did, I had to do something. Okay, I had to do something. I couldn't just keep ignoring it and hoping it was going to get better or go away. So I ordered a specialty pillow. All right, this pillow is designed specifically for people who have neck, back, and shoulder issues. It has multiple positions that you can use to sleep on it to give you support that you need.
This sounds incredibly self-diagnosed and self-prescribed. Oh yeah, I got the first orthopedic pillow I could find on Amazon that'll deliver same day. And I can sleep on it like 5 different ways. You tried sleeping on your wife?
So that when you're sleeping, you...
I'm sorry, that was toxic and uncalled for. It wasn't related to the current conversation, so it shouldn't have been said. I was in the wrong.
Stay in place and don't move so much so that you can get the proper support and you don't end up wrenching yourself in your sleep. Okay? So...
What? Is he flailing in his sleep or something? Is he just like fucking going to bed completely slosh and he's just like fucking alcohol sleep weird thing going on where he's just flailing in bed and hurting himself? Is that why his wife doesn't sleep in the same bed as him? Oof.
Here it is. Thought I wasn't going to have show and tell, you're out of your mind. This is the special.
That is so fucking odd. Like, chat. You understand that I have to look up what this pillow is, right? Like, you understand that it's required. Let's do it. Let's go find this orthopedic pillow and figure out how much money you spent on it. Yep, I found it. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. It's got the weird imprint in the middle, and this one doesn't, so. We're just going to go out on a limb here and say that this is a $40 pillow that he bought. I think that's reasonable. Just an actual $50 pillow.
I think it's called osteo pillow. So it's for, I forget the scientific word. It's osteo something. Osteopathy,
osteoporosis.
Your neck and spine. Okay. So this is the thing. It's a big beast of a pillow. It's made of memory foam, but it's also a breathable material. And it has two positions, essentially. If you're a side sleeper, okay, you put your...
And if you buy now, we'll throw in a second one for free. Just pay extra shipping and handling.
head here sideways like this, okay? And you keep your shoulder into this crevice here. And basically, this gives you support in your sleep so you don't move around and you don't move your head or neck. Now, let me tell you, I had tried to sleep on my normal pillow in that position the night before, and I had excruciating pain. Last night, I slept in that very position on this pillow, and I had zero pain, and I stayed completely still in my entire night of sleep. I never...
This product is not authorized by the FDA to treat any disease. Please seek a medical professional if you have any bleeding from your anus.
Wanted to move. It was comfortable as heck. Okay? So for me, that was perfect. Now, there's also... flipping it gives you a special back support area. So if you're someone who sleeps on your back...
Like, I'm sorry, that's just a butt. That's just a pair of butt cheeks.
You put your head there, just like this, and now you have perfect shoulder and back support. And again, when you're there comfortable just laying like that, this is the natural position your neck's supposed to be in, and you have no desire to move around. You just stay comfy on the pillow like that. So this is a really good pillow, but I gotta get used to sleeping on it. I've only slept on it once so far, and I really like the experience.
Remember, folks, he is so used to being in pain that it really doesn't affect him, and he's able to just push through it. But he went and he got a $50 pillow. He went and got a $50 pillow so that he wouldn't flail around in bed, tossing and turning. Uncomfortable. I don't know, bro. Maybe snuggle up to your wife.
And I can tell you, at the very least, I didn't hurt my neck further. You know, I didn't move and toss and twist in my sleep and wake up in a weird position and end up in even more pain. So that's a great thing.
Who wakes up in a weird position when they're sleeping in a bed? I mean, I know we do it. Everybody's woke up at some point in time in a weird position and gone, what the fuck did I do last night? But, like, he acts like that's just a normal thing that happens to him every night. Like, he wakes up and he doesn't know where he is and shit. Like, he's actually just going to bed fucking just done. Blackout drunk. And he's, like, waking up in weird spots in the house and stuff. Like he's on the fucking roof or something.
Now, how am I feeling today? Not great. I still got it. And
nobody cares. All right. I don't have any interest in continuing to listen to him talk to us about how he is so resilient to pain, but he's also in a lot of pain. Last segment, I was going to look at the neck update and new snack box thing. I'll see if there's some timestamps here. I want to see the snack box thing if I can. See if I can find him talking about the snack box. Of course, got to talk about the pillow again. Did he eat some snacks on camera? If so, I want to make fun of that. I mean, learn about that. Yeah, it looks like he's eating some snacks here.
mess. I guess we'll have to see. And then Thursday, all right, will be until Tuesday. That's actually, you know, at all. All right.
I don't know. I screwed it up.
I'm about to do 2 of them. I've already ordered a European treats box. That European treats box is coming today.
This is what he's the king of. You know, you ask him what he is because he's not the king of hate. He is the king of impulse buys. I've got this Sakura box, which is a bunch of Japanese snacks, but, you know, I decided to go buy another one too, full of European snacks. Because, you know, it was for sale, and therefore I decided to buy it. It's how normal consumers behave, right?
Let me check the status.
Or here's a wild idea. You could not check the status because nobody fucking gives a shit when it's going to be delivered. Like, literally, actually, 0 people care. Why would anyone care when your shit is going to fucking arrive today. Because that's what he's going to say. He's not going to just say it's going to arrive today. He's going to say, it should arrive sometime during this stream, or between streams, or during night stream, or after night stream. It's going to get delivered at about 2:30 in the morning. Don't worry, I'll still be up on Twitter drinking.
Oh, it's coming. Oh, wow. It's almost here.
See?
It says, we lost signal from your delivery driver, but your delivery is on the way. So it's supposed to be coming within the next hour. Or I wanted to show you what the new box looked like, since obviously we're going to be doing it like really soon. So let's see what happens. I don't know how they lost connection with my delivery driver. That's pretty funny, actually. The driver stole my box. The driver is opening my European treats box right now and eating all of the snacks in his truck. Wow. Okay, ready? 2 more out of the 4 left. Let's do this big thing. This is Sankaku crackers, and it shows like the ocean waves coming in, and then there's a cracker on this side. Sankaku crackers. All right, let's see what this is.
How can you play all these Japanese fighting games and not how to pronounce Japanese words? Is that an unfair criticism? I feel like I don't know. Have you ever heard of a Japanese person whose name is San something? Like I don't know a lot of the grammar and stuff, but I know the Japanese alphabet, right? Alphabet, whatever you want to call it. The sounds, the syllables, right? The vowel, as we would use it, is a. It's not e. It's not a. A, right? Like the Italian thing? No, it's not that. It's a. A, e, I, o, u. It's san. San, ka, ku. I have no idea what it means, but I know how to pronounce it. And I feel like if you play video games with Japanese people in them and the voice actors pronounce the names correctly, which maybe they don't, you should eventually learn those syllables. At least the ones that are used all the fucking time.
Well, it's a tray with crackers in it. All right.
Yeah, that new Street Fighter 6 character, Mei.
They don't particularly smell like anything. I smell like some kind of a seasoning on it, but I have no clue what it is. So let's see. What exactly is a Sankaku cracker? It looks like a little triangle with 3 holes in it.
The fuck? And then he pronounces it correctly. You stupid dumb bastard. He's doing it just to make me say something about it. I feel stupid.
All right, let's find out. Ready? To eat one, you have to say 3, 2, 1, Sankaku. That was weird. At first, it was like a sweet cracker, but then it had like a...
Maybe finish eating before you fucking start talking about it, you stupid idiot.
Salty, savory...
God, I don't understand this. Like, he's like a 2-year-old, wiping his nose all over the back of his arm and sleeve and hand, fucking picking at his face and his teeth and his ears and rubbing his eyes and fucking snorting and belching and sniffing and fucking digging his boxers out of his crack, and you get the wide-angle camera and he's factually just readjusting his fucking pecker, and then he's fucking talking to you with his mouth full. Like, I'm sorry, I can forgive some of this stuff if it happens once in a while. But he does all of it, all of the fucking time, and it's so wild, and it's not something worth getting upset about, right? Like, nobody's dying over this stuff. Nobody's really getting hurt by this stuff, but it is wild. It's wild how bad his manners are, because he doesn't interact with other human beings ever.
Almost like a seaweed flavor. Okay, ready? 3, 2...
Wow, it's a Japanese snack, and it's a rice cracker that's kind of sort of sweet with seaweed flavor. Wow, that's crazy. It's probably something that's never been made before.
1, Sankaku! It's odd. I don't really know what to make of it. It tastes like a standard sweet cracker, but then it has a savory, salty coating, so let's find it. Triangle crackers. Cute triangle-shaped bite-sized crackers with a savory, salty, nori seaweed. I was right. Seaweed flavor. I was dead on correct. Seaweed crackers. It's not bad. They're not bad. I don't dislike them. I've grown to like the taste of seaweed more since I started eating Asian cuisine out here in Washington, such as, poke bowls, sushi, etc. You get used to the flavor of seaweed.
It's probably not seaweed, just to be a nitpick.
Or Korean food, like we've had bibimbap and stuff like that, and that has like seaweed in it. It's not bad. I don't love it, but I definitely don't dislike it. It's good. It's decent. Okay. Yes, I've tried octopus mayor Charlie.
It's literally a salty nori cracker, by the way. Like, that's literally what it is. It's a nori flavored rice cracker. It's the most basic bitch Japanese snack. You could probably get them at the Fred Meyer in a big tub or a big plastic bag. And they're good. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying it's like he's so uncultured that this is the wildest fucking thing.
Yakitori is great. I love yakitori. Okay. One more treat. Now, you tell me what these guys are doing. I have no idea. They're doing all kinds of work on the package. It looks like they have like a well or a cauldron. It looks like there's a woman looking into the cauldron, but there's a guy with like a hammer. And then it shows a guy who's like in a tree, but it looks like he's sowing seeds on the tree that's already growing. I have no idea. And there's no words on this at all, but there is a cute doggo. Right there. Do you see the cute doggo right there? So I have no idea what's in this. Jasper. Oh, careful, Jasper. Don't hurt yourself. Careful, buddy. Bonked his head on the bottom of the table. Be careful, okay? Okay.
Calm down, dude. It's a cat. Like, unless it like fucking falls of something and whacks its head as it's going down, you don't need to worry about it. It's a fucking cat. You fucking hit your face on stuff before. You didn't get a concussion over it. It's fine. Calm down, bro. I hate his fake concern for the cat that he obviously doesn't care about.
Let's see what these are. These also feel like crackers to me. It feels like it's a pack of crackers. What the? It's a little.
I feel like this type of stuff, the snack stuff, as content would be more interesting if he tried to taste it and tell you what it's like, and then like look at it and figure out what it's all about. Like, what's it supposed to taste like? Does it have some cultural significance? Stuff like that. But instead we just get, oh yeah, it doesn't smell like anything. Oh yeah, it has a really interesting, robust, authentic flavor. Okay, moving on. It's just very boring and fucking lazy.
A little puff of some sort. A little crispy puff, but I have no idea what it is. I still have no idea what it is. I have no clue. It doesn't particularly taste like anything. It just kind of tastes like a plain, crunchy puff with no flavor. What did I say? Yes, I meant takoyaki. What did I say? I have no idea what these are. I'm going to look it up in a second. Very generic puffed snack flavor. No real flavor to it. Let's see.
It is a... I apologize. I've had a lot of, like, coughing. Maybe it's because the way I talk when I'm on the mic. I try to be quiet. It is a Yaokin Mochitaro Japanese puff snack, which here it says is an arare snack, a classic Japanese cracker with a crunchy outside and a puffy inside. Its simple, lightly salted flavor means it has a plain taste. Thus, you will not get tired of eating it. What makes this snack unique is that each package of Mochitaro also includes 1 to 2 pieces of peanuts. Sometimes there are 1 to 3 half peanuts, or, on rare occasions, none at all. So, chat, we've got a fun poll. Type in the chat how many half pieces of peanut DSP is going to find in his snack between 0 and more than 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, or more than 3. And the snack is made out of flour, vegetable oil, starch, peanuts, salt, and spices. And that's about all I got to tell you about that snack. I'm not familiar with its cultural significance. I don't know what spices it's flavored with, but it seems to just be some kind of flour puff, fried whatever, with some salt and some seasoning. I'm going to say DSP finds 0 half peanuts in his snack, because they will have, as DSP would say, because he's very insensitive, they have gypped him.
Okay, these are called mochi or mochi. I don't know how to pronounce it. Taro crackers. Pack of okaki rice crackers, flavored lightly, salted crunchy snacks, and a peanut. There is half of a tiny peanut in there.
Whoa, I got felted. He got 1 half peanut. And look at this dude. Look at this dude on the screen right fucking now. As he puts this peanut into his mouth, like he has never in his life eaten a peanut and wants to know what this weird thing is all about. By the way, this is the arare snack. It's like it's like the other thing he ate. It's a soy sauce puff. Soy sauce flavored puff. The other one he ate was rice. This is it's flour. So I don't know if it's rice flour like the other one was. It's functionally the same thing, and maybe it's just a little lighter on the flavoring.
It's just a half of a peanut.
Yeah, what did you think it was going to be, fucking dumbass? It's a peanut. You put that in your mouth like it was the most weird thing you've ever seen in your life. Of course it's just a peanut.
Nothing special to that at all. It's okay.
I like the high-pitched chewing. That's real fun. It makes it sound like he's really just slamming these things back. Phone going off.
It's pronounced mochi. Thank you. I never knew that. Mochi. Okay. They're very generic. Like I said, if you like a puffed rice snack.
You didn't know that CHI is pronounced chi in Japan? Japanese? You didn't know that? You're 42 years old. You've been playing all these Japanese video games. Same criticism as I had before. San, I guess I can kind of forgive a little easier for somebody pronouncing san as san, as opposed to somebody pronouncing chi as ki. Like, I don't know. That's a syllable you see in Japanese every other fucking word.
Snack of any type. That's exactly what it tastes like. There's like no seasoning on it at all. So between the two, man, I don't know. They're both okay. They're both just okay. I don't dislike them, but I don't really like them either. I don't know if I would actually go out of my way to get them. They're just all right. Man, all right. Well, here's the deal. My other snack box might actually be here already, and I'm going to check in a second to see if it did get delivered since they lost connection to the signal. But there's only 2 items left in this box. So we could finish the Sakura box today, and then we could start with European treats tomorrow. Or we could actually start with European treats today, but we have to hit 3 goals. All right, because we're only 2 goals away from DSP Tries It, and each goal is the last 2 of these. Okay? There we go. All right, well, there we have it. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, wow, do I have something to show you? Do you want to see difference in quality? Are you ready for this? So, this was the 30 treats box, Japanese snacks from Sakura Box. That's the name of the box. And this, is the 25 treats box from Europe. Look at the difference in size. Are you kidding?
Very robust and flavorful and meaningful. We're going to move on. And, well, no, we're not. Because the next video that I had was him talking about snacks. And that's kind of what I wanted out of that. And instead, I watched the raw and unedited version from his own pre-stream level 1 podcast. So, shit. I guess that's it. I hope people have had a fun time. I hope you've learned something new about the universe. But most of all, I hope that you understand that DSP is better than you in every way, and the only way that you're ever going to be happy with your life is if you go out there and make something of your life. Or, you could make fun of DSP. That would also make you feel better. But then on your deathbed, you're going to be telling your grandkids about how your only regret in life was that you made fun of DSP, because you could have been like curing cancer or something instead. I'm going to see if I can find somebody to raid. That would be polite. That would be robust and flavorful. Unfortunately, I don't think I have anybody in my list. Let's see. Is there somebody that I can send people to? Damn. I don't know that there is. I guess go watch Tevin if you want. He is not actually on mic, I don't think, but I don't currently have somebody else that I want to send you to, so